What if instead of our beloved Truck-kun coming to fetch our hero and take him to another world, the protagonist himself studied black magic his entire life just for that? Since he was a kid, his dream was to be a hero in another world, and he spent his whole life studying for it. Now Taru Sato made a magic circle in his room and added a drop of ketchup and even used his plushie as a sacrifice in this ritual. He's going to get teleported to Hello Kitty's world at this rate. At first he thought it didn't work, but then hands started coming out of the magic circle and grabbed him. When he started to open his eyes again, a bearded guy was asking what kind of stupid thing he had done. The ugly and idiotic boy didn't understand. That was when the old man, who is actually God, showed it to him. The 21-year-old boy named Taru Sato had died. He was found in his room suffering from a severe lack of life. That's what happens when you try to compete with Truck-kun. The dude can't believe he actually died, but hey, at least his magic worked. God spills that Earth never taught humans magic, and it's wild he figured it out solo. But turns out the circle he drew wasn't for travel, it was for reincarnation. Plus, he messed up by not specifying the destination or purpose, making him realize he goofed. Now he's got to switch up his game plan, so he asks God for a reincarnation do-over. He's always been hyped about other worlds, can't let this slip. But God's like, nah, reincarnation's been off the table for ages. Thanks to the new soul recycling law just brought back. Basically, using reincarnation magic is a self-destruct button, and the fate of those folks is always a hot mess. Like being born and dying right away, or ending up a slave. You might even come back as a beast or, yikes, an insect. For him, anything's cool, just not an insect. And he's still curious about special abilities. God says they're a thing in his world, but they're not all that, making him beg for one anyway. The old dude explains they're handy but tough to activate, making him think it's still a win. So, he keeps begging, and the old guy's like, maybe, since he's the first to reincarnate after the ban, asking if he's really down for this. He's all in, no turning back now. Hearing this, the old man's like, before you get it twisted, let's clear this up. All his past life memories will be wiped. Hearing this, his hopes take a nosedive. And the old man's like, told ya, no playing favorites. Teru asks if even this convo will get wiped. The old man's like, yep, everything's gone before reincarnation, no cheating the system. With that, his spirits are totally tanked, saying maybe he'll snag a basic skill at least. Out of nowhere, a system window pops up in front of him. Some wild lights start zooming his way. Next scene, we're in a different spot, and that light's in the sky. It's heading down to a medieval city, zooming through all sorts of places. Meanwhile, in an alley, some folks are beating someone up. The blonde dude's like, this guy's got nothing worth taking. That light zooms right to this boy. He wakes up, opens his eyes, and those bullies start to bail, but the boy's about to black out again, just as he's about to close his eyes. That's when the stolen system abilities kick in, and bam, his past memories are back. The boy on the ground's like, I remember everything now. If it wasn't for this system ability, he'd be toast. Still, he's in a tight spot. Basically, he hasn't done squat in this world yet. He's got all his memories back. No way he's dying here. His name's Taru, and in his past life, he had the same name and look. During a baptism ceremony at 6, it was revealed he had this super confusing ability. So, his dad, who's a total mess, just ditched him in this forest full of monsters. That's why he bolted to this big city called Saichi, a few days away from his village. The city was buzzing with life, like a TikTok video gone viral. But it also had its sketchy side with all the misfits. Life was a major struggle, barely snagging a meal every few days. Taru's scratching his head, broke and weak, and the adults are just ignoring him. So there's really only one option in this world. Next thing, boom, we're in a new spot. Taru's wandering around the city. He spots a knight, but wait, there's something even cooler ahead. It's the Adventurers Guild he's always dreamed about. Super hyped, he rushes in to check it out. But he's instantly surrounded by some folks. They're all, this is the Adventurers Guild, so scram. Taru's like, I'm not here for this drama. Then someone grabs his shirt, not letting it slide. But a girl pops up saying, chill, no need for violence. That wild dude drags Taru to a table. The girl joins, explaining the guy's just trying to keep others off his back. Feeling grateful, Taru thinks he's finally found a decent human. He's all, I want to sign up too. The girl's like, hate to break it to you, but there's a fee. Hearing that, Taru's hopes crash and burn. He's got no way to register, but he's curious about the cost. The girl says it's 10 silver coins, but Taru's pockets are empty. He'd love to sign up, even if he had to beg, but he's in a tight spot. Plus, he's got no ID since he ran away. But the dude's like, no worries, I'll cover it. Teru's jaw drops at the guy's kindness. Meanwhile, some adventurers are laughing, betting Taru will bail once he registers. But Mobe's like, that's the plan. They're betting on Taro working hard to pay back the 10 silver coins. The adventurers think it's a dumb bet, who bets on a kid, but Moab's all in, betting on Taro. With bets placed, Taro thinks Moab's a solid dude, despite the name. He bows, thanking Moab for everything. But Moab's like, don't get it twisted. As Moab leaves, the girl explains he was an orphan too, became an adventurer after a tough life, probably sees himself in Taro. So they move on with registration, and she introduces herself as Nay, asking him to touch a magic crystal. Suddenly, the whole guild lights up. His ability shows up on paper, but it's all gibberish. His skill's called distorted text, and Taru's like, what's that? Nay explains, like, a lancer and a seamstress, practice enough, and he'll unlock cool skills. The world's voice will guide him. Taru's mind is blown hearing about this world voice. Nay says it's like the heavens guiding everyone to their skills. Taru wonders if it's the same voice he heard when he almost died and remembered his past life. Nay says with distorted text, he's got no clear path, but trying different things might help. Standing up, Taru's pumped to give it his all. The attendant tells him to hang tight. Looking at the machine, Taru thinks it's like some old-school camera. The girl's messing with it. Taru's still puzzled by this contraption. She's fiddling non-stop. Then, she hands him a pendant, saying it's his guild tag. He's starting at the bottom, gotta wear it around his neck. Hearing this, Taru does what she says, ready to roll. She's all, let me break down the Adventurers Guild for ya. So, they've got this ranking system, starting with the newbie rank. The lowest rank is -G, then it's GF, and so on. Our hero's like, whoa, it's gonna be a grind to level up. Guild girl's like, hit a high rank, and boom, you're elite. Top rank? That's S+. But, heads up, any crime gets logged on your tag, and you're out of the guild, no questions asked. Plus, you'll be handed over to the guards no matter how small the crime. Loads of adventurers out there, but most play by the rules. So, no stress. And Taru's thinking these dudes seem tough, but they're actually chill. After all this snooze-fest chat, Taru's itching to start a mission. Nay's like, chill dude. She's all, it's lunchtime, and to celebrate you joining, lunch is on me. Next scene, time flies by. She's serving up a plate to our hero. Since he reincarnated, he's been starving, so he's ready to chow down. Not wasting a sec, he digs in, and then tears up, thinking, dang, this is delish. She's watching him munch away. Meanwhile, she's all, were you raised in a fancy fam? You've got manners. If it's touchy, he doesn't have to spill. Taru's like, nah, just a poor farm fam, and mom passed when I was a baby. At 6, he bailed from dad's place, cause dad was gonna ditch him in the woods. Nay's like, was it to cut down on mouths to feed? And he's like, probably. Dad used to smack him around, so no love lost there. Long story short, getting to the city was brutal. He faced a ton of monsters on the way. Seemed like there was no escape from that mess. But somehow, he lucked out and made it to the city. Finally, he hit Saichi. Still, nobody was nice to a weakling like him. He was always scrapping for leftovers, living in the misery of that cursed place, barely surviving the daily grind. But, thanks to this meal, life's looking up, and he can hang on for a few more days. Next scene, time skips again. Someone's calling for the guild attendant. That's Taru, saying he's done with the cleaning gig. The attendant's like, there's a well out back, freshen up, and here's some clothes. The boy's all ears. He finds the well to get cleaned up. No time to waste. He's grabbing water for a bath. Suddenly someone's like, dude, you reek. He turns to see who's talking. A bearded guy's there saying he smells rank. Our hero's ticked off saying the guy stinks too, and the bearded dude's like, say that again, I dare ya. He looks and smells like he hasn't bathed in forever. Clothes all grimy. So he's like, no choice. Let's heat this water. Telling the boy to hurry up and bathe. Hearing this, our hero chills out thinking this fool's actually a good dude. Next scene, the guy's heating water for Taru who's wondering how this old dude's gonna do it. Then, bam, he's got fire magic in his hand and he's heating the water. Taru's like, whoa, that's magic for sure. And the water's warming up. The bearded guy's like, hop in, quick. Taru's thinking it's his first bath in ages, and counting his past life, it's been 8 years. Then, out of nowhere, the bearded guy grabs him and dunks him in the water, helping him scrub up. Obviously, he's not doing it all solo. Moments later, our hero's all clean, saying he feels way better. Right then, a system voice pops up saying his special abilities kicked in, and since he finished the body cleansing mission, he's got a purification spell now. The other guy's like, what's up? And our hero's like, just heard the world's voice, and I've learned the purification ability. The dude's all, yo, the secret to learning the spell was probably the bath. And Taru's like, wait, does this change for everyone? The bearded guy nods, saying, yep, same skill, different paths, and sometimes it's just raw talent. One way to master fire spells? Just keep lighting fires, and the trick to learning anything is trying out different stuff. But our hero snagged the purification spell, totally shocked to score such a rare skill like that. Hearing this, the boy's mind is blown, wondering if it's really that epic of a spell. Then, the dude hands over some clothes. Teru's all, "Thanks, but I don't need all this. I'm off to take a bath myself, so I'm out." Scene switch, and Teru's picking his next mission. But then, the guild attendant's like, "Hey, the guild leader wants a word." Totally confused, Teru's thinking, why would someone that important want to chat with me? Next scene, he's at the leader's door, asking if he can come in. He steps in, and surprise, it's that bearded old dude from before. The girl whispers to be polite, cause that's the boss. So, the hero bows, saying thanks for earlier. But the man waves it off, telling him to take a seat. Switching topics, he mentions, Nay said Teru's broke and homeless. So, he's got an offer, the guild's got a spare room with a bed, and Teru can crash there for now. In return, he needs to help with cleaning and assist Nay and the guild crew, and yeah, he'll get paid too. Hearing this, our hero's shocked, asking if the guild leader's really cool with this. The man says Nay's been pushing for it, and it's the least they can do, cause even if Mobe's got him on loan, he's still an adventurer at heart. If he bails without settling his debt, it'll mess up the guild's rep, so he needs to act like a true adventurer. Checking out the boy, it looks like he bonked his head too. They offer to patch him up in the medical room with their magic. Taru leaves, and the man comments that, just like Nay and Mobe said, there's something special in that boy's eyes. Even if the confusing text ability's got its downsides, it'll at least help him get by. Next scene, Taru's chilling in his room, saying he's finally got his own bed again. He flops onto it, determined to crush it the next day. Night zooms by, and the grumpy boy's like, "Man, I overslept big time." Later, he apologizes to Nay for missing the time. She tells him to chill, cause knowing how he was last night, she let him sleep in a bit. Switching gears, our boy's off to work, starting to clean the whole guild hall. Seeing the crew busy, he asks if they need help, and another guy's like, "There's a lot, but can you even read?" Taru's all, "I can read, write, and do math, so if it's just a simple doc, I got this." Hearing this, the whole guild's shook. Right after, someone taps Taru. It's Nay, super surprised, asking if he can really do all that, begging for his help. Meanwhile, the adventurers can't believe this kid can read, cause some of them can't even count to 10. Scene switch, and Taru's saying he didn't do any missions that day, so no cash flow. His life's been chaos since crashing at the guild. He's been grinding with guild work day and night, leaving no time to chill. He takes beginner escort missions during the day and is now used to the tough grind. He's done a ton. In just over 2 weeks, he cleared his debt to Moeb. Finally, he hands over the cash, thanking him for everything. But Moeb's like, no need for that talk. And those who bet Taru would flop on his debt better pay up soon. Alright, buckle up, cause this story's about to get a glow up. So, the adventurers? Yeah, they totally weren't down for that plan. Next thing you know, Mobe's rolling in cash, all thanks to the boy, and he's like, "Yo, this kid's the real MVP." Then Nay pops up, all, "Hey, it's payday," and wonders why he doesn't just use the cash for his stuff. Taru's flexing, saying he's now rank G, so he's gotta treat himself a bit. Once he hits rank F, he can go on epic herb hunts in the forest, or take down unicorn hares, no biggie, so he figures he should snag a knife while he's got the dough, so he's off to do some serious shopping. Scene switch, and we're smack in the middle of the city. Taru's thinking shopping back home was meh, but here, it's next level awesome. He spots a place and goes, "Bet that's the shop Nay was talking about." She'd said to grab bigger clothes cause, you know, kids grow like weeds. He needs a breastplate and a cloak to keep him dry, and he's good to go. So, he grabs his gear and heads to the weapon shop next. Nay's got the hookups, cause she knows this epic shop. It's run by dwarves, which is wild cause he's never seen one before. Humans are the norm in this city, so this is a big deal. He's met beast folks at the Adventurers Guild, but dwarves? First time. He strolls into the shop, checking out weapons, totally amazed. But where's the seller? From across the room, someone asks if he's a customer, telling him to chill and browse. Our dude does just that, but it's taking forever and he's like, "Is this guy busy or what?" Finally, he spots the dwarf, and the dwarf's like, "Oh, you're a customer, huh?" Getting closer, he asks if Taru's a kid. Switching gears, Taru asks if the dwarf's gonna temper that sword. The dwarf's confused, like, "What do you mean?" Taru admits he's no expert, but he heard if you hit hot iron and splash water on it, it makes it tougher. The dwarf's like, "First time hearing that, but sounds smart." But he's worried it might mess up the iron. The dwarf keeps eyeing the forge, says there are items on the shelf that might work, telling him to pick one. He's giving it for free, a thank you for the tip. Taru's shocked, thinking the dwarf's eager to try it out. So, he accepts the generous offer. Finally, he's got a weapon. He tests his swings, asks the dwarf what he thinks, but the dwarf's not even paying attention. Taru's like, is he just gonna ignore me? As he leaves, he thanks the dwarf for the dagger and heads out. Next scene, we're at the guild hall. Nay's all, at your age, it's cool to pick something flashy like that. Taru's like, these are way comfier than my old threads. Nay checks out the clothes, saying the material's decent. And since it's cheap, he's good. Taru's surprised, asking how she knows all that. Nay's like, appraisal's my thing, I can use it on stuff. The protagonist wonders if she can appraise people. She says only part of her skill's unlocked, so nope. But it's handy for objects, like checking out loot from missions. Keeps her from getting scammed by merchants. At first, it just showed the object's name, but now it's super versatile. Taru asks what she needs to appraise people. She says she needs to meet certain requirements, and skill rank matters. Like if he's got an S rank, he can assess anything if he meets the conditions. But with a G rank, no people appraising, no matter what. He heard it can even spot personal talents with an S rank, and Taru's like, that could totally help figure out how my skill works. He just picked up this purification skill, and he's wondering if he can snag the confusing text skill the same way. Nay's all like, wait, you actually got that skill? That's healer level magic, dude. Thinking maybe the confusing text skill is some kind of healing thing too. He asks if Taru learned the cleaning spell, but Taru's like, nah, is that a bad thing? Purification's a top tier skill for healers, but you gotta know the cleaning rank skill first. Another skill on the list is purging, but somehow he just jumped straight to purification, so he's not exactly a healer. Taru's just standing there, totally lost in all this skill talk. The girl keeps pondering, saying she's never heard of anything like it. Later on, Taru's in training mode. Nay calls him up. Taru's like, what's up? She says he did awesome that day, and his payment's in. He's stoked because he's got a shopping spree in mind, but he can't buy it all, so he's got to prioritize. Mobe shows up, asking what's up because Taru looks hyped, but Taru just bounces and Mobe's like, something's off. Then bam, Taru bumps into someone. It's the guild leader, checking if he's good. Taru's all smiles, saying he got paid today. The guild leader, seeing his hype, asks if he wants a day off. Taru thanks him and heads out. The two just watch him go. Next scene, new spot. Taru's been shopping. He spots a familiar place. It's the blacksmith shop he hit up before. He knocks to see if anyone's in. No answer, and no customers around. He opens the door, calling out. The dwarf's still forging, asking who's there. Seeing it's a human kid, he asks if it's the same boy. Taru's like, yep, just wanted to say thanks for the freebie. But the dwarf's like, hold up, your idea worked but made the iron fragile. What now? Taru tells him to chill. He's squeezing too hard. The dwarf lets go, apologizing. He's been trying all sorts of stuff, making things harder but fragile. Taru's thinking, this isn't working. There's a trick to toughen tempered metal. It's called annealing. Tempering and annealing are besties. Hit the iron at a lower temp than when you tempered it, and it gets tougher. During tempering, they slap on some special clay, yakiba, to cool it fast and harden it, or so TV says. The dwarf gets it now. Taru says if he does that, the weapons should be way better. The dwarf grins, thanks him, and asks to call him master. Taru's like, nah, that's too much. Just sharing what I know. And boom, Taru unlocks another skill, the Eyes of Truth. The dwarf's pumped, saying he'll craft something epic with the info, asking to meet in a month. Taru bows, thanking him, and he's off. Next scene, the city's commercial district. It's packed, loads of people shopping. Taru's pumped to try his new skill, using the Eyes of Truth. He's amazed by it. He can see and ID anything. Humans can't yet, because it's not fully unlocked, but it's super handy. Taru grabs an orange, wondering if this is how Nay sees stuff. Everything's got a description. He plans to dodge the fake stuff thanks to this skill, only buying the good potions. Same for other items he's after. Time flies, and people are staring. It's Taru, carrying a mountain of stuff in a box. Looks like he spent all his cash, and now he's broke. It's been 2 months since he became an adventurer. Most adventurers see him as the ultimate multitasker, basically the guild's errand boy. He's usually stuck with the easy-peasy missions, and not many actually see him as a real-deal adventurer. His rank's stuck at G+. Getting bumped up to F was thanks to missions outside the city, but the guild thinks his muscles need a bit more oomph. Then one day, a dude calls him over to the courtyard. There, a bunch of people are practicing their sword skills. This old guy, Dice, says Taru's looking skinnier since last time, and that's why he can join the training squad. Hands a sword to our hero, who's worried they'd roast him for missing 2 months of training. Then, Daz charges at Taru, telling him to show what he's got. Taru grips his sword tight. While swinging, Daz points out he's wasting too much energy, tells him to get ready, lands a solid hit on Taru, saying he dropped his guard. But hey, he's got potential. Get the basics down, and he'll be a beast. But first, they gotta fix his stance. From then on, his schedule's packed. In the morning, he's cleaning the guild. Plus, he's got mission tasks. Late afternoon, it's martial arts time. With all that, the dude's wiped out every day. He's like, this is cool, but there's gotta be a faster way. But whatever, he'll just crash for now. Then, he uses his purification power. Suddenly he gets an idea. Maybe he can speed clean the guild with this power. For now, he'll test it in his room to see if it works. Activating his power, he casts it on the floor. A blue glow fills the room. And boom, everything's spotless. Turns out the walls are actually super white. Switching gears, he should try cleaning the whole guild. Then, he opens his eyes. Looking around, he wonders if anything's different. But then, he spots something. A kid drops to the floor like a sack of potatoes. The guild leader rushes in, asking if he did this. The kid's totally wiped out on the floor. A mysterious light had just filled the guild hall. The hero says sorry, and the guild leader checks if he's okay. He probably drained. His mana telling him not to waste his power on small stuff. Usually, he'd use this magic against undead, and should stick to minor cleanups. Tucking him into bed, he tells him to chill today. Our hero insists he's not done, but then he's out like a light. Next morning, Taru's feeling refreshed and uses his power. And finally, yesterday he freed up his time. And instead of cleaning, he had more time to practice his sword skill. However, the training was mainly just basic exercises. Notably, he was the youngest and smallest among the other trainers, and some of them even had their own unique talents and sword styles. With that, his rise in the adventurer world at that age was really a great rarity. Then, Nay says that, as you know, there's a reason they don't distribute higher ranks to everyone, as they need to ensure the quality of their adventurers. After all, it's a profession full of risks, and they can't give a rank to someone undeserving, because otherwise, it could end up having consequences. Meanwhile, our boy continued to train in swordsmanship, thinking he was really lucky. The scene shifts. Taru once again went to that dwarf's workshop. He had managed to forge some blades like never before because of him. He also forged a short sword for the boy, asking if he will accept it. Taru, in turn, takes that sword. Thanking for everything, the dwarf asks to consider it as a gift just to say thank you. Using his appraisal skill, Taru is surprised to think that a single gold coin is approximately 10,000 yen, which means that sword was worth at least 150,000 yen. The dwarf doesn't understand anything he said, but our hero responds that it's nothing, asking if by chance he has added any kind of value to that sword. The dwarf asks if he can notice, because sometimes he has this ability to give a bonus and made this sword some time ago, and it really managed to have this skill. With that, Taru continues to observe his equipment, thinking that people would go crazy for just one such enhancement, wondering what would happen if they saw this. It's been half a year since he recovered the memories of his past life, and her memories were mainly in the form of acquired knowledge. But you can't ignore the perks. It's like those epic fantasy and isekai tales, where characters use their smarts to rule another world, but after some digging, he figured out it's a double-edged sword. Taru gets a flashback of a report about a dude who got wrecked by a monster. One adventurer asks if that's the guy who showed up at the office to register, and the other says it wasn't too bright to register without backup. Apparently, he wanted to patent something, but a noble snatched his idea, and the next day, his body was found in the forest. So, bringing tech there might not be as easy as he thought. Meanwhile, some adventurers were practicing sword skills. Taru, watching the fight, says it's a basic but effective move. Then he gets an idea, saying he'll pick something that seems simple but is tough to copy. A bit later, our boy was up to something. Turns out, it was bread, but it was all burnt. He tried baking his fave bread from his past life. Honestly, the hygiene in that world is super weird. They don't even wash hands, and baking bread with yeast is a struggle. But if it works, he'll make some bomb bread, and actually eat it. So he uses his purification skill to zap all the germs. With that, Taru finally made his yeast. Meanwhile, Nay was watching him, asking what he was up to. He says he's gonna make some bread with it, using that liquid to whip up soft white bread with flour. Basically, bread like she's never seen before. Nay asks if it's that fancy white bread the rich folks eat, because she wants to make some too. With that, Taru kept on making his meal. With Nay helping him out, the kid basically went to a magic world just to bake bread. A bit later, he was finally done. It's not super fluffy since it was cooked in a pan. Then, Nay says, it smells amazing. It smelled so good even the adventurers across the room were sniffing it. In no time, the guild leader shows up asking if he made bread, to which he says, yep, it's white and soft. Without missing a beat, the guild leader starts munching the bread, surprised by its taste because it's really different. Nay says he's awesome because he can do all sorts of things, even make bread. Scene switch. The building next to the Adventurers Guild is a bar run by the guild and is a hangout spot for adventurers. When they added his sandwich to the menu, it blew up in a week, boosting the number of regulars, and of course, his creation was by Teru, but they made it the guild branch's exclusive specialty. After all this, Teru could eat good food and get shelter from the guild. It was a win-win for both. To sum up, he's all about bread, but also rice. But it's not a big deal in this world. People treat rice like a random weed they feed to cattle, so he's bummed about it. With that, his mission as a former Japanese is to spread the rice love. He tried talking to Leo about it, but Leo had never heard of rice. So, he decided to serve him bread made with rice flour. When he was about to eat, he seemed unsure. He quickly changed his mind. It's way different from regular bread and super tasty. With that, it was settled. They'll start selling rice bread. Our boy is stoked because he pulled it off. A bit later, more and more customers were rolling in, and now they gotta think about making a main dish with rice. Figuring an easy-to-eat bowl might do the trick for now. But first, they gotta make regular rice. Since they don't use chopsticks there, they'll figure it out. Finally finishing his dish, adding meat to the rice. The kid really became a chef in this world. With that, the dish was done, and boom, another hit item was added to the menu, and tons of guild folks came just to try this awesome dish. A bit later, Teru was chilling at a table, finishing up a new dish. The kid was hyped because he couldn't wait to eat. Right when he gets this new skill, he's like, "Whoa, what's this?" Turns out, he just had to be a food guru. And boom, he suddenly knows all about plants. But Teru's not exactly jumping for joy. Basically, he's like, meh, nothing feels different. So he's got this idea to check out the garden plants. He gets there, and still, nada. His brain's not giving him any new info. He figures maybe he should use his evaluation skill to check things out. Turns out those plants are just weeds. Teru's like, okay, I take it back. This skill's actually kinda cool for checking stuff out. Then, we're back at the guild hall. This kid's got a cat on his head, saying grandpa's out, asking if he can leave the cat with her. The girl's like, sure, just gotta mark it in the book that he's safe. And just like that, mission complete. Switching gears, she jokes the cat's at the guild more than home. She asks for his adventurer tag to note the mission. Teru's cool with it but wants to know why. The girl's like, you'll see. She heads to that magic machine from before, puts Teru's tag in it. And just like that, the job's done. She's like, congrats, you're now rank F. Teru's stoked. Thanks her. She asks if he wants an F rank mission. Teru's like, sure, but gotta prep first. As he leaves, Nay thinks Teru forgot to confirm his mission's done. Next thing, Teru's home. Gears up, ready for his F rank mission. At the mission board, he picks his quest. Nay's surprised. It's a herb collecting mission. She thought he'd go hunting, especially with that dwarf sword. Teru's like, true, but I want to try other stuff first. So, Teru's in the forest thinking, this is it. He jumps right in, using his plant skill. Every plant's got a detailed description. His skill's super handy. He's like, yup, just as I thought. Starts picking herbs with his bucket. With this skill, he's a herb collecting machine. A couple hours later, he's got all the herbs. But something's off about the forest. He's not sure where he is. Thinks maybe he's lost. Maybe he should backtrack. Then he hears noises in the bushes. Something's there. And bam, a goblin shows up. Teru's like, why's that thing here? If it's just one, he might have a shot. Catch it off guard. And in Fantasyland, he should beat it quick. Plus, he wants to try out that sword, but he's shaking like a leaf. He's really unsure about this whole deal, but he keeps moving toward the goblin. Then he makes a noise. The goblin hears him. It charges at him. Teru manages to block the hit. He's losing to a goblin with a stone axe. His sword goes flying. The goblin's still chasing him. Almost hits him, but Teru falls. He gets up, grabs his sword. He's still shaking with fear. The goblin tries to attack again, but Teru's got his sword ready. The system says a skill's activated, and Teru's like, what's going on? The goblin's clueless about what Teru did. He dashed away in seconds. That's how he escaped, kept gathering herbs, and started sword training in his free time. He even tried making potions using books, worked as a blacksmith with the dwarf. Recently, he's been practicing archery. There's a reason he's trying all these things, because his unreadable tech skill has super specific activation rules. When he reincarnated, he got his past life memories back. And after finally taking a bath after 2 months, he got the purification skill. Normally, nobody would get so grimy in just 2 years, and those folks usually don't get a second chance to scrub up. He snagged the eyes of truth for being a pro at spotting what the experts do, something that's usually a no-go, because it takes years of brainy wisdom to pull off. Thanks to his past life's knowledge, he whipped up some killer meals and got the lowdown on plants. Looking back, none of these epic feats happen overnight in a regular life. In short, he just wants to try everything, hoping to unlock some new skills. And being stubborn is just his vibe. Right after, Teru nails an arrow on Moby's cape, almost hits the dude. He gets all heated about it. But then, another person pops up. Taru spent his youth getting zapped to another world. He actually pulled off reincarnation. Next scene, Adventurer's Hall. Our boy's chilling there too, thinking about how he tried a bunch of stuff for like a year and a half. But he couldn't master squat. He brought new snacks to the inn, and they were instant hits. He even taught the dwarf to forge a new weapon, a katana. After a bit, he bagged a one-horned rabbit, his first monster hunt. The god from before said it wouldn't be easy, and he was spot on. But he did gain something from all this chaos, and realized he can juggle a ton of tasks like a boss, which is rare in a world full of skills, and if you don't have skills, you're seen as a noob. Trying to master something without natural talent is almost impossible, and he wonders if his scrambled tech skills got anything to do with it. Then, our hero stands up, thinking maybe he's just overthinking all this. So, he decides to go on an herb gathering mission. He was planning to hit the northeastern forest that day, but if he keeps hitting the same spots, it might backfire, wiping out all the herbs. The deeper he goes into the forest, the rarer the herbs he finds, and the more he feels the monster vibes. Mostly they're just goblins, but in some spots, he might bump into an orc. Maybe he should wrap up the day's mission fast. Sometime later, he finally finishes gathering all the herbs. Still, the kid keeps picking a few more plants. The one he's holding seems pretty rare. He got lucky because he was really finding some cool plants. At that moment, he hears a noise. Looking to the side, he wonders if it's a rabbit or a sprite, but his face changes when he sees what it is. It's another goblin. That creature's holding a tiny mouse. Our boy's about to draw his sword, but then the goblin spots him. The monster keeps staring at the protagonist. Out of nowhere, the kid bolts. At the same moment, the system pings that the special skill's activated because he ran from a creature. He scored presence detection and invisibility cloak as his skill. The protagonist keeps running, not believing he got a skill by actually bailing. Scene flips to the Adventurer's Hall. Loads of people are hanging out there. Our hero's got his camouflage skill on. He's shook by this skill, wondering how OP it is. Absolutely no one sees him in the middle of this place. He tries chatting with people, but it's a total fail, guessing he really managed to go full stealth mode. But then, he gets whacked in the head. Our boy's clueless. Turns out, it was Leo telling him to pick the right spot to use this skill. Hearing this, Taru thinks some people can still spot him. Scene flips again to another spot after a bit. Taru keeps gathering herbs to finish his mission. At the same moment, he notices something. Guessing there are monsters lurking too. He ducks behind a tree to scope it out. But this time, it's just a horned rabbit. Thinking he might as well take it down while he's out here cause the meat's tasty and the skin's sellable. Without wasting time, he uses his camouflage skill. Sneaking up on the rabbit, taking it down. The stealth cloak's effect definitely has its perks. Soon after, he hears another noise. Guessing it could be another monster again. The boy points his sword, but the other guy asks if it's Taro, asking to hit up the guild ASAP. His crew's battling a goblin horde and needs backup cause there are like 80 monsters. Quickly, our hero starts to bounce, telling them to hang tight till reinforcements roll in. Scene flips again to the guild hall with Taru breaking down the whole sitch. Leo's all, "Yo, it's gotta be the northern forest. Rally the squad. We're rolling out ASAP." One crew's already duking it out with goblins to keep Sace safe, so ditching their guildmates ain't an option. He's like, "Time to squad up, adventurers. Let's flex our unity." They're splitting into 3 squads. Red, blue, and green. Taru's got the job of spreading the word to everyone. Red squad's on rescue duty, green squad's on goblin patrol, and Taru's the go-to messenger. Everyone's got to team up like pros, and nobody's getting KO'd on their watch. Fast forward, and we're in the forest. A dude's stressing about running low on arrows, but his buddy's like, "Chill, backup's on the way." And boom, reinforcements roll in. Another guy's like, "Yo, tell blue squad to clear an escape path." Then our hero hands over some potions, saying, "Take these, trust me." The dude's shocked, asking if they're pricey, but Taru's like, "Nah, I whipped them up myself." Plus, he's off to update blue squad pronto. Finally, the kid hustles to the next team, asking if they can secure an escape route, and the hooded dude's like, "Green squad distracting the baddies would be clutch." Our guy's basically the info hotline. But things are looking grim. Too many goblins, and they need more backup. All squads are cornered by goblins, seriously needing a hand. Leo's like, "Got it. I'll update the guild. You chill. We got this." Mobe's in the thick of it too, charging straight into the chaos, facing a goblin army. With one epic swing, Leo wipes out a bunch of them. Then, a sneaky goblin tries to ambush him, but a teammate's got his back. Leo's all, "Thanks, bro," and keeps pushing forward. Mobe's watching the action unfold, charging at some goblins himself. Our hero's blown away by everyone's skills, but no time to gawk. He's got to head back to the guild. Next scene, he finally makes it back. Adventurers are buzzing, asking for the deets. Taru's like, "The guild leader's on it. We're good." But then, our guy just drops like a sack of potatoes. Later, he wakes up. Feeling relieved everyone's okay, a dude's like, Those potions were clutch, we fought without fear. And Taru's just glad everyone's safe. In the end, he did his part, but he's bummed about his lack of combat skills. He feels more like a sword guy than anything else. But that's not enough, and he wants to test his skills against goblins. But they roll deep, so soloing them is risky. Teaming up would be the move. But no one's down to squad up with him. So he figures it's back to training tomorrow. Next scene, new location. A lady shows up in the adventurer's hall. Days pass since the goblin battle. Taru's on a new mission. Marco's like, thanks. For the hustle, I'll handle the paperwork. Taro's puzzled, asking where Nay is. It's weird she's not at the guild. Marco says her folks showed up out of nowhere for some meeting. Sounds serious, cause adventurers are hunting for Nay. Then, another dude's like, for real? Calling the adventurers, they spill the tea about a marriage proposal for Nay. Everyone's shook. Another adventurer asks Taru if he knew, and he's like, nope, leaving them bummed cause Nay seemed to dig him. Then, someone taps Taru's shoulder, telling him to follow Nay and report back. But Taru's like, can't, I'm mission bound. Marco's like, you haven't accepted it yet, so you're good to go. Leaving Taru totally annoyed, thinking he should just do his job quietly, like a ninja on a stealth mission. With no other options, he's gotta agree to this mission, even if it's a total drag. But if anything goes sideways, he's the one holding the bag. So even though the adventurers claim they were waiting for his report, he's not buying it. The scene flips, and our hero, eyeing the carriage, figures Nay must be lurking nearby. Then, boom, he stumbles upon something. Nay's chilling next to some dude, apparently. Taru's brain goes, oh snap, this must be the rumored marriage candidate. The guy seems pretty sharp, which spells bad news for the guild crew. Still, he's gotta scope things out first, just to be sure. Time ticks by and Taru's still tailing those two, thinking he's already cracked the case, because the space between them screams suspicious. Then, an old dude pops up, asking Taru if he's okay after a tumble, but Taru's like, shh, dude. When he glances over, those two have vanished into thin air, thinking he's gotta uncover what's really going down between them. Next scene, that guy's declaring he wants to spend forever with Nay, asking if he can put a ring on it. But duh, it's just Taru's wild imagination running wild, saying Nay definitely can't get hitched, wondering how he's gonna spill this tea to the guild. Right then, someone rolls up on him. It's Nay, asking why he's lurking around. Wasting zero time, he's like, who's that dude? She says the guy needed some info, so she helped out. Plus, her folks are there, asking if he wants to join them for some grub. Scene switch to a restaurant. Taru's there with Nay and her fam. He's like, so, is this arranged marriage thing for real? Then, flashback time with Nay's mom. Showing up at the guild, Nay's all surprised by the unexpected visit. While they're chatting, some guy's eavesdropping, trying to figure out what's up. Her mom's saying if she's single, she should think about an arranged marriage. Scene jumps back to now with Nay saying it was just her mom's joke. Hearing this, her dad's like, if you're so worried, maybe you should marry her when you're older. Meanwhile, Taru's thinking they're a tight-knit fam, wondering if his past life parents are okay. They're probably shook by his mysterious death, especially after getting into a top-tier university. In short, he's just been a headache for them. Soon after, Nay checks if he's alright and he's like, yeah, I'm good. So, he's determined to crush it in this world to make his parents proud. A day zooms by after all that chaos. Our hero's chilling at the guild. He's standing there, frozen like a statue. The adventurers are sweating bullets, all kneeling before him. In the corner, the guild leader's there too. The guy's super jittery. Then, Taru's like, I've got missions, so let's drop this convo. But Leo's like, we were victims too, it's cool to be mad. Using a kid to snoop on a guild employee's life is low. But the girl's like, no biggie, forgive them. Hearing this, the guild peeps are shook because she's a total angel. Shortly after, the guild leader cracks a smile, saying they're lucky because they'll be doing a month of volunteer missions. Volunteer missions, in short, are mega boring. Also tough and super messy. They don't pay well, and this batch is even tougher. The next one's heading to a mountain, and the mission's to fix the city walls. This means hauling stones, moving them, and stacking them. All of it's hard work, and with low pay, it's one of the least popular gigs. When Taru was level G, he couldn't handle it. But now it's different because this time the reward's not too shabby. And with that, he tags along with the crew to the spot. There are already loads of people smashing stones there. For some reason, Taru's also in the mix. The boy's thinking he's not into hauling or stacking stones. He's really there to see what's up. Next, an old dude shows up, telling them to get to work soon. But first, he's got to teach the basics because newbies need to listen up, asking if they see that stone over there. First things first, find its center, and then smash it with all your might. Boom. The stone split in two. The old dude's like, hey, you guys give it a shot too. Sometimes these stones hide cool stuff, so if you find any, give him a heads up. If you score something epic, he gets a reward too. And Taru's thinking he should give it a whirl. He starts using his truth-seeing power. In those nearby rocks, all he sees is coal. But then, the boy's eyes pop when he glances sideways. Something shiny catches his eye. He's all, "What on earth is that?" The old guy pops up again, saying those piles are just mining junk, no biggie. But our hero's like, "Nah, I'm checking this out," and cracks the stone. Boom, it starts glowing. The old man just watches, jaw dropped. The hero just stumbled upon a mithril ore, leaving the bald dude totally shook. He yells for everyone to stop because, dude, they just found mithril. With that, Taru unlocks a new skill called precision. Days fly by, and the boy's still figuring out this precision thing. Probably something to do with aim, so he starts practicing with a bow and arrow, thinking this skill's gonna be super handy. Scene switch, and a guy's like, 100 gold coins for the mithril, what you gonna do with all that cash? Taru's thinking he owes his life to the guild peeps. So, food and drinks are on him today. And then, boom, party time. Next, he glances at Nay, asking if she's got any ideas for the leftover cash. She suggests donating some to the orphanage, leaving him surprised by her idea. Scene switch, and the town's buzzing because a kid found mithril out of nowhere. Meanwhile, some guild adventurers are chatting. A brown-haired dude's like, "Heard Taru took down some bandits, true?" But Taru's like, "Nah, that's just gossip," wondering how to handle these rumors. Then the dude's like, "Don't worry, I shut those rumors down for you." Hearing this, Taru tears up, thanking everyone for having his back, thinking he's grateful but needs to squash these rumors. Later, Taru's strolling through town with his invisibility skill. He hears something and wonders what's up. Turns out, it's a play with an actor demanding money. Taru's thinking this town's kinda boring. He hears his name and perks up. He starts running to check it out. On the other side, a play is going on about a kid beating goblins and scoring a mithril stone, asking what to do with the cash, planning to donate it to the orphanage. Jumo's watching, shocked, realizing it's about him. Puppet shows are all about local legends now. They used to be rituals, but now it's just for fun. Rumors about Taru are becoming the town's entertainment. And as they say, rumors spread like wildfire. Realizing this will just fuel the gossip. He'll stand out too much, which could be trouble, so he wants to dodge it. In all this chaos, he needs to chill. Since he's got no choice, it's risky, but he might have to go all out. He feels for the puppets, but he's gotta fight entertainment with entertainment. Next scene, Nay's thinking about him. The boy asks what's up. She wonders why he's lugging all that firewood, drawing attention, and Taru's like, "I'm planning a game for my future." Nay's like, "A game for your life?" He nods, saying the town's obsessed with him, so he's making a game to distract them. Nay's like, "You're trying to shift focus, but making something everyone loves overnight is tough." But the boy's like, "Chill, I've got a plan. It's nothing shady, so no worries." Next scene, the boy finally wraps up his game and decides to name it Havers. To make this epic game, he starts by cutting out a square board and draws lines to make it 8 by 8. He paints one side of the ball black and the other white, like a mini yin-yang. Boom, game complete. Nay, all curious, asks how to play it. In this game, you flip your opponent's pieces by surrounding them with yours, and whoever has the most stones wins. When you place a stone, you gotta put it where you can trap the opponent's color and flip all the stones surrounded horizontally and vertically, or even diagonally, ninja style. Once you snag the corners, you basically own the game. The eager girl is hyped to try it out, and Taru's all, "Let's do this." And just like that, the first epic showdown begins. Nay's pumped, saying she's totally not gonna lose. She makes her move. Time flies and black scores 4 wins while white only gets 1. The battle rages on, with black racking up 23 wins and white snagging 18. The protagonist's like, "Hey, I'm not too shabby at this." Eventually, the battle wraps up with black winning with 40 pieces. Nay's stoked because she finally snagged a win, and she's shocked she beat the game's creator. The protagonist's all, "Rematch time. He's not losing again." Nay, all fired up, says he still doesn't get her power. Meanwhile, Taru's ready to get serious. He makes his move. Time zooms by again. Nay says it was close, and for a simple game, it's a blast. Switching gears, she wonders if he went easy on her in the first game. The protagonist tries to dodge, but she's not buying it. Still, the game's awesome, and she's sure everyone will dig it. Taru's feeling pretty pleased hearing that, but there's a big question of who gets to claim creator status and register it with the commercial guild. Until now, his past life's recipes were just food, so no need for registration. Some tried to copy them, but no one beat the original at the guild's restaurant. Thanks to the guild's solid rep, no one copied openly. But with this game, it's a whole different ballgame. Seeing the situation, Nay asks what our hero's plan is. He thinks about using the guild's name, but if he registers it, they'll need a creator's name. He could use Leo, but he's too famous, so it'd be super sus. Honestly, someone trustworthy with strong backing would be ideal, asking if the girl knows anyone like that. She gets all thoughtful. Then, she has a light bulb moment, saying there's someone, and he's pretty close to him. The protagonist's surprised by this, but then he catches on. Scene switch, the boy calls Mobe. He's a stand-up guy who donates to the orphanage and is a top adventurer in the guild. Nay says Mobe will keep donating part of his income to the orphanage, and, as part of his crew, he's down for long-term missions. So, Mobe's the perfect fit for this gig. That's why he's getting the vote of confidence. Scene shifts to the guild leader's room. Mobe says the orphanage can benefit from his extra income. Plus, he's been itching to level up with his team, asking if Taru's sure, because it might be cool now, but what if the board blows up in popularity? The protagonist's chill. He'll get a cut of the profits and dodge any drama, which is super convenient. Mobe's all. Sounds like a win-win. Switching topics, the boy asks if they're ready to roll. Mobe's like, you bet. They finally seal the deal. Scene shifts to Taru checking out his board, saying for the masses, a simple board's enough. For collectors and nobles, it should be something extra. Making limited editions with fancy boards and legs, plus shogi sets. Seems his precision skills been underrated and will be super handy. It's crazy precise, making measuring a breeze. Also boosting his motor skills like a pro. With that, he could totally level up to a master carpenter. After a while, the boy finally wrapped up his epic build. Taru really went all out on this one. Nay, checking out the masterpiece, is shook, calling it a legit work of art. Taru just nods and says thanks. But he's still kinda worried about something. Great stuff doesn't just sell itself, you gotta hype it up. Soon, he eyes some adventurers, thinking it's go time and he's counting on them. A super unique and special mission. Then, the dude with the headband asks what that game is, cause it's super cool. It's a brand new game, unlike anything he's played before. Another guy pops up asking if he can give it a shot, and the man says sure, but watch out, that girl's a beast. The two sit down to kick off their match. Some other adventurers are also peeping at the board, starting to seriously boost the game's hype. Watching the scene, Taru thinks they gotta keep this momentum going. The bait client strategy got the adventurers hooked, and a bunch of sales were set up so they could snag that board right away. With that, in just a few hours, the store was packed with people lining up to play this game. The line even stretched outside. Following Leo's advice, to dodge any annoying complaints from the Lord, something had to be done. To promote the game on the down low, limited editions were already sent as gifts. He also hooked up distribution rights to merchants dealing with the Adventurers Guild. Plus, the city of Scythe is kinda boring, so the game caught on quick with the kids. At the same moment, the boy realizes something. Seeing the chaos, he wonders what's going down. He tends to dive right into the madness. Two people were playing some kind of game, especially the one that belonged to the main dude. Everyone was hyped for the showdown between the two lords, and Taru thinks the signal was better than he thought, and his board's operation was a major win. The scene flips with someone telling Mobe that boards are selling like crazy, and both the cheap and pricey ones are flying off the shelves. The boy says that's awesome, but he left all the business stuff to the guild, so they should chat with them. The man says he gets it and then, happy, starts to bounce. Mobe asks if Taru heard about all this. He replies that he's already talked about ramping up production with the guild leader. Mobe in turn says he gets it. With things going so well, he might be able to compete in the big city with his crew, and for that reason, he owes him one. As they leave, the two say their goodbyes. 15 days zoom by, and the Silver Sword Squad crushed all high-ranking missions in Sacy and got bumped up to rank B. The scene shifts to Taru chilling with Leo. The man kept an eye on our hero. The main dude seems to be stressing about something. The guy wouldn't stop staring at him hard. In the middle of it all, Taru thinks he seems super grumpy. Soon after, the madman slams the table. Taru's totally clueless about what's happening. Leo says it's cool that adventurers from other places are showing up, but their behavior is trash. They're causing drama with the locals, which is messing up the guild's rep, and their main adventurers are rank C. To sum it up, compared to Mobe's squad, they've got a lot to level up. Internal security's getting worse, and they asked for more troops from the feudal lord, but it's still not cutting it. Instead, they're being sent to deal with bandits and keep crime in check. Meanwhile, Taru thinks Leo's complaints are never ending. The guy was super bummed. Then, Leo says that the commission from the game Taru made is what's keeping them afloat. But still, there's a snag. There's a big order coming from the capital, according to the merchants, and they also want 10 of his limited edition boards. Taru's shocked, saying it's no surprise since the capital's on another level. Leo adds that, besides that, they want him to roll with the merchant caravan, leaving the boy even more shook by what he heard. The guild leader says they want him to stay there for a month as a game instructor, but Taru says the rules are super easy, and, as a kid, he can't do that. However, Leo says if they insist, there's no way around it, as he might not dig standing out, but no one in the capital knows him. Plus, it's not bad to check out the capital while he's still young. With that, the boy doesn't seem to have much choice. Switching topics, Leo says he's getting promoted to rank E from that day. Then, he stands up, saying he needs to level up for the guild's balance, no cap. And honestly, this is a major win for the kid. Watching the scene, Taru's unsure if he should be hyped or what. As he leaves, Leo's all, "I'll leave the rest to you till the big day." Scene switch, boom. Our hero's still on his herb collecting grind. Can't forget the boring job of prepping all those boards. Ugh. Finally, night rolls in. Scene flips to the adventurer's hall, some folks still gaming hard. In the Middle Ages, this stuff's apparently lit. Taru's still hustling inside the hall. Adventurers spot the kid grabbing some papers, shocked like, "Whoa, even kids work here?" He's eyeing missions like a pro, asking when the guild started babysitting. Meanwhile, Taru's thinking these dudes are the rude adventurers Leo warned about. These guys, besides being loud, are a whole circus. A redhead says having a kid like him makes them look bad. But then, someone slams the table. It's the headband dude, can't handle the noise anymore. Marching over to the extra, saying the kid they're dissing is a top-tier adventurer, rank E like them. Hearing this, other guild players back him up. Kids like, "A boy at rank E? That's wild." But the other guy's like, "For real, it's facts." Honestly, he doesn't know how it was where they came from. But here, adventurers are next level. Even kids outshine them. Hearing this, some adventurers admit they didn't need to be so harsh. Meanwhile, two other adventurers just watch the chaos unfold. They bounce, apologizing for the drama. Scene switch. Taru's thinking Leo and the instructor Das are rank A. Then, someone calls him over. A group of adventurers checks if he's cool, saying not to sweat it, he's a legend. Taru thanks them, saying it didn't faze him. Adventurers are relieved. Taru's all about these bonds, grateful to his squad. A day passes after the chaos. Scene flips back to the Adventurers Guild. Taru's checking out missions on the board. Guild's packed as usual. Nay's handing out missions to folks. Looking over, the girl's puzzled about something. Meanwhile, a dude's approaching the Adventurers board. Protagonist stays quiet. The dude sneaks up, asking what he's up to. Turns out, he's been AWOL from home, no heads up. Looking back, the kid's shook. A man was watching him. Guy demands a quick answer, ordering him not to ghost him. About to throw a punch at the protagonist, but the kid activates his skills, dodging the hit like a ninja. In seconds, he's gone. The man's clueless about what just happened, asking who let him dodge that punch. Protagonist stays silent. The man charges again. Taru dodges, reappearing in front of him. Guy trips, faceplants like a clown. Nay shows up, confused about the chaos. Adventurers roll in, reminding no violence allowed here, but the man's still fuming, asking where Taru's living now, saying he needs to pack up and head home. Taru's like, "Nope, not going back." Guy's mad, asking who he thinks he's talking to. Misses another punch. In this mess, Taru thinks the guy hasn't changed a bit. Honestly, he wants to kick him, but violence is a no-go in the guild. Suggests they chat outside, away from the crowd. Leaving, Nay's worried if the kid's gonna be okay. Next scene, outside the guild, man's asking about the mithril money, saying everything should go to his dad. Taru's thinking, as expected, the rumor hit the village, and it's a big chunk of cash. Guy, after ghosting him for ages, now wants to play dad, saying he has no cash for him. Still, the man won't quit. Taru wonders when the guy will realize it's all pointless. Then, his dad's all, "How can you forget everything I've done for you?" But the kid's like, "All I remember is getting kicked around every day." Dad's trying to spin it, saying they were just teaching him discipline. Then, some dudes roll up asking if Salke's got the cash from his kid yet. Watching this, the main guy's like, "Is this when I call Taru?" Turns out, his dad owes them money, and they're in deep if he doesn't cough it up. Seeing the mess, Taru figures they want him to cover his dad's debts, and the dude's like, "I'll pay right now." Switching gears, Taru's all, "You got the loan contract?" Scarface dude's like, "Yeah, I got it right here," flashing the contract with the debt. But Taru's like, "Nah, this ain't a contract. It's just your boss's note to grab as much cash as possible. Bottom line, no contract, no pay, and he doesn't even see that guy as his dad, so double no pay." Hearing this, his dad's fuming, calling him a liar. Right then, someone else pops up, saying it's rude to act up in front of other customers. Mess with Taru, and the whole town's gonna be on their case, so they better chill if they want to stay safe. Another guy chimes in, saying Taru's been super generous, even donating leftover cash to the orphanage. All this was expected from the ex-adventurer and host. Right after, the extra starts to bounce. But Teru's like, hold up a sec. Scarface is all, what now? If you're not paying, just leave us be. Teru's like, even though we're done, I want to say sorry for my dad's mess. Hands over a gold coin, saying, keep it. Scarface is all confused by this. No time wasted, they're out of there. The main guy's already sorted the whole thing, saying sorry for the drama. Meanwhile, there's a bearded dude sipping a beer. Next scene, we're somewhere else, and Teru's doing his herb thing. Someone's lurking behind him. He's wondering why bad stuff always happens. The guy shows up. Teru's ready for whatever. Sword out in a flash. Scene rewinds a bit. Teru spotted a shadow by a tree. The dude's eyeing his sword, thinking it's an Angus special. No time wasted, the guy charges, demanding the sword. Teru's like, here we go again. In seconds, he whips up a magic circle. An ability surrounds everything, using it to make a quick getaway. But surprise, the guy corners him, telling him he's not worthy of the sword, ordering him to scram. Teru starts yelling for help. Someone's after his sword. Some adventurers nearby hear the ruckus. Annoyed, they head over, asking what's up. Then, the bearded guy fires an arrow, but Taru's ready, countering in seconds. The adventurers finally show up, checking if Taru's good. Our hero's thinking he can finally get on with his mission. Scene shifts to the Adventurers Guild. Taru's eyeing some wood piles, saying he's got to finish the limited edition boards, determined to make all the pieces, doing it all with care. And boom, he's done. 10 pieces in total, 10 limited edition boards, complete. He's stoked with his work. But even with skill, cranking out so many boards so fast is exhausting. Still, with precision, he nails identical pieces. A craft he perfected down to the last detail. Obviously, without creativity and talent, you can't make cool stuff. That's why he gave it his all in art class to pull this off. Later, he's playing that game with an adventurer. Another guy shows up, asking how Taru's doing and if he thinks he can pull it off. Wants to know how many boards he finished. Our hero's like, I finally got 10 done. Leaving Paolo shocked, expecting him to finish at least 6 per the contract. But he wraps up the contract and, switching gears, asks if he wants to tag along. Then, another dude pops up, telling him not to swipe his star player. But Paolo insists Taru's skills could earn him way more cash than he's making now. However, the guild boss warns that if Taru bails, he'll cut ties with his trading biz. Realizing it's the guild boss, Paolo backtracks, saying he was just messing around. Leo says he'll try to buy that story. Then, Taru asks if there's any scoop on the trip to the capital, so Leo asks Paolo if he's picked who Taru's gonna train with. The guy mentions that this person seems to be a noble, suggesting they snag some fresh threads while there's time and meet a top-notch tailor. Hearing this, Taru's mind is blown, thinking this is getting wild, wondering if everything's gonna be chill. The scene flips to outside the guild, and Leo says it's best to bounce early cause the night is sketchy, not just monsters but bandit rumors too. Asking Taru what's up and why he's not rocking his new drip. Nay, on the other hand, asks if he got new clothes, and why he didn't spill the beans earlier cause he wanted to peep them. Taru says these are fancy clothes for meeting the nobles, not for a road trip. With that, all the travel prep is done. The main dude hops in a carriage, saying he's out of here. Nay wishes him a safe trip. With that, they finally roll out to another city. Taru thinks the journey's smooth sailing, the highway's a big help with all the traffic, and troops are posted at every rest stop so it's super safe. To sum up, it's the usual fantasy plot where the merchant convoy gets jumped halfway, playing out in his head, but it seems like a pointless worry. There's also the fact of having a rank C adventurer by his side. Then, Taru says the guy coming their way looks sketchy. Basically, he seemed to be sizing them up. The girl guesses maybe he's a bandit spy with some evaluation skill. With that, they can't let their guard down. Sometime later, the scene shifts to the rest area. At that moment, they hear a noise. Taru asks what went down, and the girl says she's got a bad vibe about this, guessing the bandits switched targets to the convoy behind. According to the soldiers who checked the scene, the bandits vanished, and the train was totally wiped out. With that, their hope for the train's safety was pointless. To sum up, reality's a harsh beast. Sometime later, the scene shifts to a carriage. A farmer was peeping all that traffic. Then, that girl calls for the main dude, saying the capital's in sight. The curious boy peeks outside, saying the city wall's length is mind-blowing. And the other guy says when they get closer, the height will blow his mind too. With that, they finally hit their destination. Checking things out, Taru says he's getting the jitters, heading towards that massive gate. The red-haired girl says his jaw's on the floor. The gate finally swings open, revealing the enormous city. Everyone keeps gawking at the capital. Taru thinks it feels like another world with races he's never seen. Shortly after, a man says they're heading straight to the merchant's HQ, asking them to tag along, and Taru thinks that's true, cause he totally spaced. With that, time flies again. The guy with the hat says he'll update the Adventurers Guild about the mission and the bandits just in case. And the merchant says cool, asking them to meet there in the morning 5 days later. Switching topics, the guy asks what the two are up to, and the girl says she's Taru's guard for now, so she'll stick around. Watching from a distance, Taru says the 5 archers seem right at home in the capital. They often do this kind of mission, so it's no biggie. The bodyguard says it's just the start, and besides, the place is huge, so if they get lost, use the Imperial Castle Tower as a landmark. Back in the day, she wandered for half a day trying to find the Adventurers Guild HQ before spotting that blessed tower. Hearing this, Taru wonders if she's for real or just joking. In the next scene, it cuts to a building. Taru's checking out the place, totally shook, thinking it's the first time he's had a crib this nice with his new bod. He's all, are all hotels in this world this bougie? But the bodyguard's like, nah, dude, this is just for you. My usual spot costs like a fifth of this, leaving Taru's jaw on the floor. Switching gears, she tells him he's gonna be a tutor for some noble kid's game, and if they don't hook him up with a decent pad, it'll mess up their rep. Taru's like, is it something similar? The girl's all, probably yeah. Taru's getting jittery, but Mina's like, chill, you won't last a month if you're always on edge. Taru's like, if it's just a month, I can bounce back with you guys in 5 days. The girl's cool with that, saying he should just hit the bath and catch some Z's. Later, the dude actually does that. Next day, Taru's up, asking the girl if she's not an early bird. They get ready for breakfast, but the food's a total letdown. Taru's thinking he's gotten too used to the fancy grub he whipped up before. He's craving better eats. Mina's like, stop talking about it, you're making me miss the good stuff. Scene switch. And now they're somewhere else. The old dude's saying the Garfish Guild's got a long road ahead. When he got the game board Paulo sent on a speedy horse, he knew it was going to be a hit. Even his kids are fans, and he's sure it'll blow up in the capital, so he's been hyping it to the nobles. Taru's stoked to hear that, sure his teacher will be too. He's there to learn from Moeb, the inventor, and can't mess up. The old guy's like, Taru, you've got mad skills to make art like those limited edition boards, impressed by how young and talented he is. But Taru's like, keep it on the down low that I made those boards. Garfish gets it and agrees to keep it hush-hush. If word gets out, nobles might swarm him. So, he offers an unlimited edition board to keep things quiet. Taru's thinking, no chance wasted. This dude's a real businessman. It's like a silence guarantee. Another day rolls by, and Taru's tripping over how much the scenery's changed. Paulo's telling him to chill. It's his first time here too, and he's just as shook. Taru's looking around, thinking the girl's calm vibes are super comforting. She's like, I'm a bodyguard, gotta stay chill, nothing to stress about. Taru's surprised, wondering if she's trying to keep him from freaking out. Finally, the carriage rolls up to the mansion. Taru's curious about who owns this place. It's gotta be a top-tier noble's crib. Then, the other guy's like, this ain't Count Helino's place, it's Duke Valera's mansion, the kingdom's prime minister. Taru's mind's blown, realizing he's been summoned by someone super important. Then, another person shows up. The butler's like, everyone's here, follow me. They head into the mansion. Taru's activating one of his skills. Peeking through the door, he sees a bunch of people. The butler stops, telling them to wait by the door. The squad's feeling the nerves. While they're chatting, Taru's thinking, this is a major intro. Out of nowhere, his system pops up with a special condition met, and he scores. The evaluation inhibition. Taru's shocked, realizing the world's voice just chimed in. He's got another skill now. Looking around, he's amazed, thinking all these people seem super high-ranking. So, imagine this. If he learned evaluation inhibition, it means he was getting judged by a whole squad of people at once. Anyway, he's all hyped to test out this new skill he just unlocked. The kid's curious if it actually works. Then boom, someone pops up in the hallway, giving a shout-out to the Garfish merchant's rep, and, oh, the young dude there? Can't miss him. He heard it was a kid but didn't expect the tutor to be so tiny. And Taru, checking out the guy, wonders if that's the country's big boss. He starts eyeballing the crew. Then, he gets asked to roll with Taru. They say the young dude's the main apprentice of the board game inventor, and he's gonna be the tutor for the day. First up, he's gonna play 3 matches to show off. Hearing this, Taru's like, is this guy testing me? Is this a bit childish? From the big boss's view, he asked for a tutor and got a kid, so it's not weird to feel a bit trolled. With no other option, the kid's like, alright, let's have a good game, thinking he better get serious. And with that, they finally sit down to kick off the match. People are watching from a distance, saying he's pretty polite for a commoner's kid. Meanwhile, Min is thinking Taru's gotta show his skills and hype him up, wondering if the kid can really pull it off. Then, Taru reaches out, telling the big boss to make his move. The match kicks off. Neither side wants to take an L. The big boss stays chill, watching the whole game. One noble's like, the elite apprentice isn't all that, and the other girl says it's cause the big boss is too OP. As time ticks on, the game's heating up. The girl says it's wild, cause the top apprentice flipped the game, and the other noble's like, the big boss's first move was fire too. With that, the first match wraps up, and the winner? Our main dude. The big boss says, well duh, from the top apprentice of the game's inventor. No surprise he picked him as his tutor. So, they should reset and dive into round 2. In the second round, it's way more neck and neck than before. But still, our main dude snags the win. That girl's shook, asking if that move at the start was a trap. Even so, the big boss ain't quitting, asking to kick off the third match. The guy's getting the hang of the main dude's moves. With that, he's getting more balanced. So the third match ends in a tie. A bit after the match, the main dude's all thankful. And checking out the scene, he wonders if he's getting too serious over a game. Some time passes, and Taru's like, grabbing the corners is cool, but it doesn't mean you'll win, thinking reverse is a blast and the best for fun. Soon after, a merchant calls him, saying he couldn't say it before, but he was really awesome. In all 3 games, he snagged an early lead and then flipped the script at the end. And he even managed to tie the last game while letting the big boss play more. But Taru says he's hyping him too much cause the big boss learned from the 2 games and adapted in the third, leading to a tie, and he's not sure if he could win if they played again. Then, the guy calls the main dude, saying sorry for testing him like that before. That game, being so simple, really shows the player's character, which is super cool. He hasn't played in ages, but got too cocky, and Taru showed him a big skill gap and made him realize his own goof. But Taru says he's really strong, especially in the third game, as his resilience and adaptation were truly impressive, and he's not sure if he could win again. Hearing this, the big boss is happy, thanking him for his words. Switching topics, he says the reason he called him there, instead of Count Alano, was for something. To sum it up, it was to check him out for someone else, and Taru wonders if he's talking about what he felt when the evaluation started. The big boss says he has a classification evaluation skill. He then trusts his judgment of people, but it seems the kid's got some kind of immunity to all this. With that, he caught a glimpse of his skills for a second, but then they vanished. The next moment, they seemed pretty normal, and if he's not wrong, this is the first time for him that this was happening, and it's really kinda mind-blowing. Hearing this, Taru nods, realizing his new skill not only blocks evaluations, but also throws out fake info. Then, the minister asks if he could chill his epic evaluation. Block for a sec because he wants to introduce him to someone and needs to trust him fully for that. Hearing this, Taru thinks the dude's pretty sharp, noticing his skill. Maybe he can pick up some tips about his scrambled text skill too if he goes through with this. Then he agrees to show his abilities, but only to him. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister keeps an eye on our hero. The protagonist, meanwhile, thinks no one was watching. Then, he finally turns off his skill to hide evaluations, and the minister, in turn, is blown away by what he sees, saying it's wild because his basic stats are low, typical for a kid of his skill, but they're majorly boosted by a skill called precision, and he's never heard of the Eyes of Truth, but it's wild how it links to his evaluation skill. There's also the presence detection skill, and meanwhile, Taru feels totally exposed. The Prime Minister says what's even crazier is that, even with the scrambled text skill, he's leveled up in loads of professions. Usually leveling up should boost stats, but that's not happening, and that's why Taru's case is super mysterious. Hearing this, Taru is shocked, wondering if his professional skills leveled up, then his hard work wasn't for nothing. Honestly, he'd love more deets, but he has to chill, after all, it's the Prime Minister. The guy says it's odd because he's checked out the scrambled text skill before, but he can't figure out what his original skill is, and Taru asks what that means. He says it's a skill that needs an S-class evaluation to spot, and usually, you can guess the skill based on trends and stat growth. But, as he said before, his skills are leveling up in loads of professions, and this is beyond his evaluation skills. If it were just martial arts, professions like Holy Knight or Hero might make sense, but he's leveled up in random areas, like blacksmith and carpenter, and even in alchemy. To sum it up, he's never heard of a pattern like this ever. Checking out the scene, Taru thinks that even though the Prime Minister is probably the top evaluator in the capital, he can't figure it out. But no need to freak out, as your skills are leveling up in loads of fields. Saying that maybe the universe gave you a unique ability, and the only hurdles are the tough conditions to unlock it, but you'll always keep grinding and chill. Then, the Prime Minister says he seems to have a rare ability, so nothing shady should be happening. Then, Taru remembers that everything that went down was because the Prime Minister promised to evaluate him for someone else. Soon after, the man says he wants him to be a tutor for His Highness and the prince once a week, and on other days he wants him to teach the local nobles. Hearing this, Taru is totally floored, because he was about to start teaching even royalty, thinking this is turning into a hobby for nobles, and thought it was just fun for regular folks. The Prime Minister tells him not to stress because he'll be paid well, but Taru thinks that's definitely not the issue. Next scene, they're already out of the castle and strolling through the city. Taru, glancing at his bodyguard, thinks she seems to be in a super good mood. Surrounded by nobility, he just blends into the background. Then, Mina tells the boy he did a great job, and the protagonist just thanks her. The girl, in turn, asks if he's gonna teach a prince, and Taru can't tell if she's joking or serious, saying he'd rather forget about it for now. Next scene jumps to another spot. A maid greets the protagonist, saying she'll prep his meal and asking if he wants a bath first. Hearing this, Taru is surprised, thinking this is always a sweet welcome. But still, he must stay chill. He asks Mina what she wants to do, as he wants to eat in the room and relax, and the girl says that works for her. So, Taru asks to have their meals set up in the room. The maid does as the protagonist asked, and Mina says Taru's looking like a noble now, and he replies that he really is one. In the next scene, the meal's finally ready, and it's a chill day. Mina says since they're heading to the capital, she wants to know if there's anything he wants to do. She's got to meet up with the prince tomorrow, so she's all about chillin' today. And Taru's thinking that means no wandering around. He's all, wanna explore the capital? And she's like, sounds lit. Scene switch. Taru's asking Mina if she needs anything, and she's like, no plans. Hit me with suggestions. They're strolling through the capital, checking out shops, eyeing some cool stuff. She's like, gotta snag some souvenirs for fam and my bro, but there's time. Taru's like, wait, you got a bro? And she's like, yeah, same age as you. Long story short, he's a mega fan. Always dreaming of adventuring like Taru, especially after those puppet shows. He even acts out the scene where Taru dodged debt with copper coins, and Taru's like, did that story go viral too? Every time he thinks about it, he's all cringe. Switching gears, she's like, let's bounce, we're near a spot I want to hit. They roll up to a store, and Taru's like, whoa, it's a magic item shop. Inside, he's mind blown by the cool stuff. There's this epic backpack catching his eye. The shop dude's like, this is a masterpiece by the legendary Gene, 10 platinum coins. Taru's thinking, 1 platinum's like 100 million back home, but this backpack's fire. Mina's like, nah, I need a smaller one. And Taru's like, you gonna cop it? Shop dude's like, gotcha, head upstairs for more. Up there, they're shook by all the magical goodies. Shop dude's just watching, begging them not to go full touchy-touchy on the artifacts. Time flies, and Taru's like, should we bounce back home? They finally dip, and Taru's like, you were bold. And she's like, you loved the second half. Time zooms by after all that chaos. The main dude hops out of a carriage, looks up, and he's like, whoa. Finally, it's time to teach the royal fam their epic game. Someone's like, you're here, welcoming the squad. Taru's still all confused, thinking he got the 411 on the castle, but the VIP treatments got him shook. Then the dude's like, follow me. The gates swing open. Inside, knights everywhere. The noble's like, your crew can chill in the waiting room. So it's just the main dude tagging along, and the guy's like, keep moving. Taru's now in front of a door. For him, no turning back. So he just rolls with it. Then he's like, here to teach the epic game. Doors swing open, revealing the 5th prince, Gripe. Taru's thinking, with those ears, he's an elf, but not what I pictured. The prince is like, whoa, Taru's just a kid, asking if he can really teach him. Taru's like, I'm Mobe's top disciple, skills on point. The prince is like, you look younger than me. And Taru's thinking, he's judging by looks, trying to flex. Switching it up, the prince is like, let's start the lesson. The boy's hyped. Finally, they dive into the game. The prince is mind blown by the action. Taru's thinking, crushing him might be savage, but hey, he's just a kid. Basically, he's owning it. Obviously, the prince is not happy, so he flips the game board. The prince is like, you're too OP, I never lose. What's your trick? Taru's thinking, no cheats here, but can't make him cry. Saying he'll teach him, but first, chill out. Long story short, there are tons of tricks in this game, asking if he's ready for hardcore training, cause he's gonna teach him the ultimate reverse moves. Later, Taru's still coaching the prince, who asks if he used this move on the prime minister. He also wants to say thanks, cause Taru's a legit teacher. Hearing this, Taru's shook. The prince is all, dude, I can't believe I beat the prime minister at first, but now I get it, these tricks are wild. Taru's checking things out, thinking maybe he didn't hold back against the prince, and this guy's got zero chill, even with kids. Then boom, the prince calls Taru again. He's all, I want to beat the prime minister, teach me your ways. And our hero's like, for sure, let's do this. At first, he thought it might flop, but turns out the kid's got some serious game. So they kick off this reverse training, meant to be weekly, but it quickly ramps up to 3 times a week. With Taru's help, the prince levels up fast, and just like that, time flies by. A butler pops in, all apologetic, asking if that ride outside is the royal carriage. Taru's like, huh? Totally puzzled, the butler's not spilling any more tea. Then suddenly, he jumps. Kneeling, he's all, sorry for everything, begging to upgrade the suite to the top-tier royal presidential suite. He'll get the fanciest meals, plus tons of perks. He'll also get to do cool stuff like bungee jumping in the valley and a jungle tour with rare animals. He can hit him up for anything he needs. Hearing this, Taru's feeling awkward, thinking this VIP treatment's way too much and super uncomfortable. Next scene, we're somewhere else, and Mina's saying Taru made them switch spots. The hostess looks bummed, and our hero's like, I feel bad, but I couldn't say no to that offer. In the next scene, that dude from before shows up. Taru's all, sorry for asking you to set up a place near the castle, must have been tough. But the guy's like, no biggie, you're important for teaching the prince, and the merchants of Garfish sorted it all out. Hearing this, Taru's thinking Seb's got mad skills, thanking the guy for everything he did. But then, our hero has a light bulb moment. Awkward silence hits. They just keep staring at each other. The guy's like, I don't remember telling you my name before. And the boy's all, wait, is Seb really your name? Later, the scene shifts to another reverse game. The prince is basically having a rematch with the prime minister. A bunch of nobles are watching this epic showdown. The prime minister's watching the whole game. Then, he cracks a smile. The young prince is staying cool as a cucumber. Then, the prime minister's like, I give up. So, the prince takes the win. And all that game study paid off big time. Later, the trio's chatting after the match. The minister's all, thanks to Taru's help last month, the prince has gotten way stronger. The prince is like, true that, all thanks to our hero. Switching topics, he asks if he can call him by his name. Taru's like, of course, your highness. And then the prince is like, call me Fluey. Bowing, our hero's like, got it. Fluey's like, drop the prince part, and the boy's like, that might be a bit tricky. Right then, the system pops up for Taru, and he scores a new skill, spiritual magic. He also gets the authority skill for befriending royalty, and Taru's thinking he just scored 2 new skills in one go. Then, the minister's like, can we chat for a sec? It's about the investigation of the distorted text skill they talked about earlier. Time flies, and Taru's tutor gig in the capital wraps up, so he's free from those intense game days, and he can finally chill a bit. But still, in this world, spiritual magic's the ultimate skill to have. Plus, his fire magic's as tiny as a lighter. His water magic's just enough to not worry about drinking water. All of them are just at a life magic level. But on the flip side, he can only use purification magic, thinking if he keeps using his skills, maybe he'll level up. But the real question's his authority skill, and he's wondering if it's any good for a regular guy like him. He even made a royal kid cry the other day, and then someone calls for the boy. His bodyguard's like, you ready? And the boy's like, yep, let's go buy all the souvenirs. Time passes, and Seb's thanking Taru for everything, and that's a big thanks from Prince Fluey and the Prime Minister. With a bag of coins in hand, Taru's whispering it feels kinda light, but the girl's like, I don't know anything. Then Seb's all, yo, the prince thinks it's weird to say thanks with cash, but hey, just take it. Boom. They're both shook because they just scored 20 platinum coins. Fast forward, and the boy's back at that artifact shop from before. He strolls in, and the attendant's like, welcome back. But the duo's got totally different vibes now. The attendant's thinking, are they here to cause chaos again? But our main dude steps aside and says he wants to snag the backpack. The attendant's like, remember, it's 10 platinum coins. Taru whips out his bag, all confident. I'm buying it for sure. The attendant glances over. The other beast's like, I got this. He grabs the key, starts unlocking, thinking, people say they'll buy, then try to swipe it after disabling the magic. Maybe these guys are the same. But Taru's like, nah, here's the coin, paying up now. The attendants are floored. How'd a kid get all that cash? The hero's like, also want that small magic storage bag, can I get a discount? Mina's like, wasn't planning on buying that, but Taru's all, it's a special bonus. She's like, it's a platinum coin, can't take it. But Taru's like, come on, you worked hard with me for a month, let me do this. Mina's got no choice, thanks him, and takes it as her reward, no fuss. Right then, the system's like, congrats, you got the magic storage skill. The boy sighs, and Mina's like, maybe we shouldn't have taken that. But the hero's like, nah, not that, just got the magic storage skill from the world voice. Which, honestly, is super handy, but he should have snagged it before buying the bag. Later, they're out of the shop, strolling through the capital. Now Taru's got magical storage. He's on a shopping spree till the cash runs out. Basically, he's hitting up all the shops, testing out all sorts of stuff. The kid's blowing through his money. Later, Mina's like, haven't we spent too much? And the boy's like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime shopping spree. But hey, it's all he needs. Then, someone calls out to the boy, saying they sense vibes from another world coming off him. Our hero's mind is blown by that. Time flies, and it's finally time to head back to Scythe. There's a lot to think about now that they're heading back. Plus, there's what Gerfish mentioned earlier. He talked about setting up a manufacturing base for that game in the royal capital too. Honestly, it's tempting, but Scythe sales are a big deal too. They could make a luxury, limited edition board in the capital, with top-tier craftsmen there. The guy's like, yeah, capital nobles would totally want limited editions. So, it's a done deal, and he's pumped to work with Taru. Next scene, the guy's asking if he's sure about getting that valuable item. Taru's thinking his bodyguard turned it down, saying he'd rather offer it at a discount after looking out for him on this trip. The guy's like, I was eyeing it, but a 60% discount is wild. I'd be happy with 30%. But Taru's like, it's cool. Just hoping for a good relationship with you, Mob, and the developer. With that, they're finally leaving the capital, and the old man's thinking the protagonist's got zero greed. Meanwhile, the boy's hoping it was a decent thank you. And the merchant's like, reverse sales will always be in Gerfish's merchant's capable hands. Hearing this, our hero's like, thanks, it was awesome working with you too. It felt like a long journey, but it was super short, so it's goodbye to the capital. He's wondering how everyone's doing in Scythe and can't wait to see them again. Scene switch, the traveler's like, magical storage is epic, because it fits all that cargo in a tiny bag. It helped cut down transport costs. Meanwhile, Taru's reminiscing about his journey, saying he's living his dream life in another world. Or at least, that's the plan. The words from that lady still bug him. Then, his bodyguard's all, yo, snap out of it, dude. Bandits are back on the roads. Taru's like, are they the same bandits we ran into before? She's all, not sure. Deets are sketchy. But turns out, it was no biggie. And our hero's all, it's 'cause I look so fierce, right? Then Mina's like, gotta hit up the guild, peace out. Waving goodbye to the squad. Right after, the dude's all, let's chat about those limited edition reverse boards in the office. Then Nay pops up, all excited to see him, asking a million questions. But Taru's like, chill, I'll spill the tea when we're back at the guild. The girl's like, cool, got a bit hyped. Still, she's glad he's good, so she bounces. The boy's thinking, nothing's changed back in Sightsee, my fave city. And yeah, his return was a hot mess. The limited edition boards with the capital's craftsmen. But Paolo's all, Taru, make your own masterpiece, but keep it on the down low. With a fake name. Of the 5 OG pieces, 3 went to Prince Flui and the Minister, the other 2 to Garfish. Little did they know, these would be the legendary reverse boards. Time flies, and we're back at the guild. Taru's picking his next mission, heading straight to the front desk. The girl's like, this one's a goblin extermination mission. Plus, the boy finally hit rank A. Feeling pumped, our hero's like, heck yeah. Nay's all, you sure going solo's cool? But he's like, a bit nervous, but gotta get used to it. Nay nods, gotcha, but don't overdo it. Scene switch to the forest, and Taru's thinking, this place is spooky. He used to bolt all the time, but now it's a whole new game. Next, he flips on his presence detection skill. Deep in the woods, he spots 2 goblins. The boy's on the move. Up in a tree, he's thinking, just 2? Easy peasy surprise attack. Aiming with his bow and arrow, fires the first shot. Nails a monster dead on. In seconds, the boy whips out his sword, charging the last monster. Takes it down like a boss. Taru's feeling good, mission accomplished. But wait, more monsters show up. Next scene, Taru's already wiped out all the goblins, collecting loot. Mission complete, right? But then, he hears a noise behind him. More goblins pop up, launching a flurry of attacks. He takes a hit, hits the ground feeling woozy, thinking he's not ready for this solo gig, wondering if he should bail. But there's gotta be another way. It's do or die. No time to think. Suddenly, some writing appears on his forehead. He uses a skill. Out of nowhere, the goblins freeze. Sword in hand, Taru sees his shot. Takes down the creatures. With his bow, he snipes the distant one. Our hero's relieved, saying if he hadn't remembered his authority skill, he'd be toast. But somehow he pulled it off solo. Next scene, the boy's back at the guild. Nay's like, what happened? You're all banged up. Then, out of nowhere, he faints. Nay's like, did you get hurt? But hey, it's awesome he's safe and mission complete. Then Leo shows up, saying Taru crushed it. Didn't expect him to do so much. Maybe his skills are epic. Taru's all, just lucky. In battles, he's still a rookie adventurer. Leo's quiet for a sec. Then he's like, sometimes luck's how adventurers level up, it's key. Switching gears, Nay's like, got a new letter for you. Taru grabs it, sees it's from the Count of Sace. Scene shift to the Count's mansion. The dude in front of him's like, you really Taru? Our boy bows. Yep, that's me. thinking this guy's got a serious vibe, and he's not feeling this sitch. Then the guy's like, there's one reason you're here, I want you as my reverse mentor. Among the fancy folks in the capital, everyone knows this dude's name. He's famous for being a reverse master, whatever that means. He's also tight with the fifth prince and the minister, living in their hood. So he figured, why not meet him face to face? He's hoping the guy might want to be his game coach. Taru's all in, thinking it's best to jump in and avoid any drama. Time flies, and now our hero's teaching the guy, thinking it's a solid start. All chill for now. Next scene, boom, Guildhall action. Leo's rallying all the adventurers. Taru's there too, curious about the buzz. Nay spills the tea. A mission's come in from the capital for all guilds. Our hero's like, sounds major. What's the scoop? The girl says it's a mission to bust some road bandits. Taru's wondering if they're the same ones from their trip to the capital. Soon, the guild leader calls up our hero, saying their guild's in on the bandit-busting mission. First up, escort teams, rolling out in threes. The squad greets our hero, Taru, saying hey back, thinks it's a temp team, but he's always wanted this. The dude behind asks if Taru's got presence detection, and he's like, yeah, but how'd you know? So they gotta have a strategy sesh. They'll gather intel by hitting up villages where bandits have been spotted. Using Sheik's smooth talking and Satu's presence detection, once they pinpoint the spot, mission complete. He'll also use his scouting skills to scope out their base. And just like that, the strategy sesh goes off without a hitch. They're rolling out tomorrow morning, first team mission, let's go. Fast forward 3 days, it's a rainy night, and someone's telling the squad to halt, asking who they are. The hooded dude says they got lost chasing monsters, asking if they can crash from the rain. Taru's there too, whispering they're super cautious. The other guy's like, we won't freeload, we can pay. But he doesn't sound too sure. Still, he agrees. But they gotta stay at the shed's edge, no village entry. Another dude pops up asking who these folks are, warning them not to try anything funny. Hearing that voice, the heroes, like, no way. Because it's his dad? What? Wondering why his dad's bringing strangers to this sketchy village. He's got a bad vibe about all this. Then, he tells his crew his dad's there. The other guy's like, the one who was a jerk to you? Taru, hood up, says, yep. Meanwhile, the dad's eyeing the group. His buddy says the village seems shady, and the other dude's like, let's bounce for now. So the guy's like, rain's not stopping. Let's call it a day. It's risky with monsters at night. Asking for a discount on the shelter fee. Just 3 silver coins deal. Hearing this, the boy's like, gotta make a deal. There's a lot going on, and the village vibe with Taru's dad is part of it. It confirms the village is the bandit hideout. Scene switch, brown-haired dudes worried they'd get caught negotiating the shelter fee. Being generous keeps them happy and off the radar. Hearing this, the two are shook, and Taru thinks the guy's a negotiation pro. Scene switch to a carriage. The hero's crew's nearby. His buddy says his skill picked up enemies, and they're on the move. Brown-haired dude's like, they spotted us fast, faster than expected. Switching gears, he asks if that's really his dad, and Taru's like, no doubt. Meanwhile, the guy's racing on a horse. Taru's like, he's on edge, maybe dad snitched. His buddy's like, either way, we gotta head back to the kingdom of Sais. Taking the main road's risky, might get surrounded. If they can hustle through the forest and scale the mountains by night, they might just ditch those pesky pursuers. The scoop about the bandits' hideout that the trio uncovered got sent out on horseback to nearby areas, pronto. All this to kick off a massive extermination mission, with all the guild branches teaming up, and the Sais branch was buzzing with prep. Scene switch to the guild hall, where Taru's begging to join in, cause his dad's mixed up in this mess. Thinking he can't mess things up more for everyone. Leo hears him out, stays quiet, but shockingly gives the nod to the kid's request. Long story short, this was Taru's first big mission, and it was about to kick off. On Extermination Day, before the sun even thought about rising, adventurers were rolling in one by one. The dude with the headband says he'll break down the plan. They'll split into 2 squads, sneak up on the fortress from the back, save any hostages, and the rest will storm the village. On cue to catch the bandits off guard. During the search, thanks to the rain, Taru and his crew missed that the village was fenced in and had watchtowers like a mini castle. Our hero got put on the fortress assault team cause he's a beast with a bow and can go full ninja mode. In the heat of battle, the kid thinks they gotta take out the lookout. Quickly whips out his bow and arrow, nails his target dead on, and down goes the lookout from the tower. Headband dude already signals to charge ahead. The squad keeps pushing towards the fortress. Meanwhile, the main guy's got something on his mind, thinking that, even if they're bandits, it's his first time taking someone out. Right after, their leader says no backing down. But Taru's all, it's cool, we're good. He needs to zero in on today's mission. Next scene, the crew's starting to scale the fortress wall. Seeing this, our hero busts out a skill, his epic storage ability. Meanwhile, Soldiers are duking it out, and their leader's like, how'd they break in so easy, telling them to gear up. Meanwhile, Mina's taking down some soldiers. Right then, a fire attack lands near her. There were some backup mages too, and the guy with the hat says that'll mess with the enemy's morale. In the chaos, Taru realizes he's out of arrows. So he switches to his earth spirit powers, using it to smack the foes ahead. The enemy general's like, we're outnumbered, telling them to surround and take them down, but in no time, the fortress was already theirs, leaving just the general, but he's all, don't underestimate me, I'm a beast with a sword too. But right then, someone blocks his view. Mina, seizing the moment, lands a kick on the general, and just like that, he's toast. The duo thanks the main guy for the assist. Our boy just flashes a grin, and with that, the fortress was totally theirs. Taru's skills got mad respect, and he started helping out in temp teams. During this time, he kept getting letters from the Baron of Sais wanting him on board. Still, he kept saying no, loving his adventurer life. Until one day, something wild happened. A soldier showed up with the Baron's orders, asking if Taru was around. Loads of soldiers were at the adventurer's hall door, again, asking if Taru was there. The adventurers pop up, saying he can't just barge in, but the soldier orders them to step aside. Then, the guild leader shows up, asking what's the deal. As Taru's feats got famous, the Viscount of Sais kept sending messengers to make him a vassal. Leo was ticked at the Viscount's pushiness and turned down the offer, saying Taru was key to his guild. So, the guy sent a messenger straight to the main dude, tempting him with a fancy life. Still, the kid kept saying no, but the guy said he'd regret it, wasting the Viscount's generosity. For Taru, this was getting super annoying. Scene jumps back to now, with Leo asking how it got this messy. The soldiers stay put. The elder says the Viscount heard about the young adventurer who wasn't feeling his terms and got all insulted and mad. To sum it up, a beef cause an adventurer was more popular than the Viscount in town. Plus, the messenger claimed he dissed him, causing this chaos. Meanwhile, Taru's clueless, thinking he turned it down nicely, and Leo says the main guy can't diss people. If they heard what was really said, they'd know he's not that type. The man says he gets it, but still, the Viscount's not getting it. Leo's all, yo, I'm gonna chat with the Viscount myself, no cap, telling them to bounce before things get even messier. The dude nods, gets it, and they dip. Watching it all, Taru's thinking, man, hope this sorts itself out. But nah, the whole city's buzzing with drama. Everyone knows the kid's a hero. Even got a puppet show about him, total legend vibes. Still, some haters out there, causing beef in Sais. Nay's like, chill dude, don't stress. But he's thinking, this is way bigger than I thought. The girl's all, rumors are just hot air, they'll fade. Another ranker's like, everyone knows you're a solid dude. Other adventurers roll up, backing him up. Facts. He shouldn't let the noise get to him. Hearing all this, our guy's just grateful for the squad's support. Next day, scene switch, soldiers are back at the guild's doorstep. Same dude's there, but now he's got a message. Taro's like, what's the deal? Nay's like, stay put. Opening the message, the guy's all, Taru, you're suspected of being in a thief gang. There's a warrant. Gotta come quietly. Our boy's shook. The guild's like, what the heck? Leo's fuming, this is whack. Soldier's like, don't fight it. Anyone who does gets cuffed too. Headband dude stops Leo. Can't help Taru if you're locked up too. Finally, the guild leader chills out. Soldier's like, hand. Over the dude, no fuss. Our hero, chill as ever, asks Nay for a favor. Can you hold on to my sword while I'm gone? Thinking he can't drag the guild into this mess. Soldier's like, you're under arrest, kid. As he's taken away, Leo's like, don't sweat it, we got your back. Time skip, scene change to a hall. A monster's like, was your dad a thief? Protagonist's like, lived at the guild, adventuring, found out during a mission. Monster's like, dad busted out, you helped him. Boy's like, I was busy fighting, but okay, I'll zip it. Taru's mind's blown, thinking, what now? His magic's locked up tight, can't even stash stuff magically. But he's sure Leo and Nay got his back. Can't forget the guild, trust them 100%. Scene switch to the royal capital, 2 weeks post-arrest. Garfish is there. Prime Minister's like, why the sudden visit? Busy here, make it quick. Garfish is all, gotta talk Taru, it's urgent. Prime Minister's surprised. What happened to the kid? Later, Garfish spills the tea, still trying to sway the Prime Minister. Prime Minister's like, got it, but hold up. Seems like they got a loop in the king. Garfish is shook, don't ask him yet. Prime Minister's like, not that easy. Stuff should be sorted locally. Plus, the Viscounts and Marquis Haragura's squad. Garfish is like, so they're against us and the king? Prime Minister's like, yup, and lots of nobles love the drama. Gotta rally them for a petition. They'll also get the Queen and Prince Flui involved. Garfish is stunned about the prince. And so the kid's arrest turned into a huge deal, shaking up the nobles. Now it's threatening to rock the power scene. Asana heads somewhere else. The prince heard it all. This is wild. Other dudes like, crazy to go straight to the king, skipping his bros. Prince is like, true, gotta chat with them first, and ask mom for backup. And just like that, the epic reverse game with the prince, prime minister, and Taru's saga became palace gossip. Soon, the king himself stepped in to handle it. The scene flips to Tarao chilling in a cell, and a soldier pops in, saying chow time. But it's just a sad piece of bread with some mystery slop. The boy lunges for it, starving, but then, hold up, he realizes something. There's poison in the grub, and he's thinking maybe confessing would have been smarter. Right then, a system pops up, gifting him a new skill. Boom, resistance to status ailments and recovery from nasty diseases. Taru's like, is this what the seer was on about with that fate stuff? She did say he had vibes from another world after all. Plus, she sensed that hero essence in his fortune. Basically, destiny's got him pegged to save the world. His skills were clutch before. Back then, he thought it was overhyped, but maybe now's the time. If it's really his destiny, he can't be stuck here forever. So, almost 3 months roll by with Taru locked up. The Viscount's in a meeting with the king, all smiles, saying it's an honor to be called up. He's always in a good mood, which the king digs. Then the king's like, you probably know why you're here today, but the dude's playing dumb. The king spills the tea that rumors say he locked up an innocent kid. Basically, it's a reverse doctor situation with false charges. The count's freaking out inside. The king also mentions he's been bombarded with appeals for the kid's release, causing a headache. The count's just standing there, speechless. The king asks what he thinks, but the guy's got nothing to say. The king's like, it's your turf, run it how you want. But there's a catch. There have been loads of protests, so he can't just ignore it. Meanwhile, the count's scrambling for an excuse. He claims he realized the kid's innocence and started the release process. Bowing, he begs for 1,000 pardons for the mess he caused. Later, the chaos wraps up with the count getting busted. Everyone knew he was lying through his teeth. And finally, Taru's innocence is proven. Then the king asks if that's cool with him. Greto's like, just voicing my concerns, no beef with the count. Soon after, the prince thanks his dad too. And that's how Taru's prison saga, even involving the king, wraps up. Time skips ahead, and the guild hears Taru's finally free. The boy's heading home at last. When he walks in, the whole guild's buzzing. Nay gets all emotional seeing him. He's still pretty beat up from the prison ordeal. Then, the girl hugs him, welcoming him back. With tears streaming, the boy says he's finally home. As time ticks on, the Baron's tyranny gets slammed by the Adventurers Guild. And the trade guilds, even the Garfish merchants, join in. But since the dude's a feudal lord, public reactions are muted. The scene jumps to another spot with someone patching up the hero. The doc's like, you need some chill time, our heroes, stoked to crash in a comfy bed. Nay's still hyped he's back. Then, Leo jokes that if he's cracking jokes, he's good. The scene shifts again, and as time flies, Taru's bouncing back, hitting sword training. Then the system's back, dropping a super regeneration skill. Pumped, our heroes learn something epic. Thinking about Scythe, it's payback time. Scene switch, and Nay and Leo are hanging with the boy. Leo's like, Taru's bought a ton of stuff again, all from the capital. Nay's curious about his plan with all these ingredients. He says he thought of a new dish for the inn's menu while in the capital. He wants everyone to try it. Hearing this, the two look skeptical. Taru's calling it curry rice. It's a dish that'll blow minds. Nay's curious about the recipe. Taru's like, he remembers eating it, but the ingredient combo's fuzzy. A month zooms by and making curry powder's a wild ride. The kitchen's filled with spice smells, sparking complaints. After sweat, tears, and runny noses, it finally clicks. The boys whipped up curry in a medieval world, and the dish? Total fire. After chatting with the innkeeper, they decided Taru would bankroll the tavern's glow-up into a curry specialty spot. Boom, it opened to the public, and it was a total hit. Then, Leo mentioned starting from rank G was a must. Rules are rules, you know? Taru's all chill, saying he couldn't take missions for over 5 months, and that's just facts. Switching gears, Nay wonders if using just his first name was cool. Taru's like, nah, not feeling his dad's last name, too many bandit vibes, and it's already famous with the nobles and royals. Plus, he just wants to roll as Taru. Nay hears this and is like, decision made. Our dude stays quiet. Soon after, they chat about the inn's chill vibes. Leo's like, we've talked about taking the inn's profits. You sure you're cool with that? Taru's like, yup, need cash for the move. Hearing this, the guild leader gets all thoughtful, saying if he's down, they'll buy it. And then there's the curry shop. But Leo's like, nope, not for sale. It's Taro's baby, they'll run it, but he keeps the rights. They set it up so he can get the shop's funds from any guild spot. Hearing this, our hero's all touched, thanking them big time, but the leader's like, no need, remember what we said when we first met? With that, they threw a massive farewell bash at the Adventurers Guild before Taru bounced. Nay was still feeling it, knowing she wouldn't see him again. Next scene, it's the day for Taru to finally dip. Nay checks if he's got everything, but Taro's all good. Then, Leo asks if he's saying bye to the capital too. The boy's like, yup, and Leo wishes him a safe trip. Nay also sends him off, saying he's gonna crush it. Our boy just bows, super grateful for everything they did. Mina's like, hurry up, and Taru thanks her for the escort to the capital. Taru had chosen to reincarnate in another world. Then he set off on a new adventure, destiny leading the way. Next scene, royal capital vibes. Taru had already said bye to Mina. He's just chilling in the middle of the capital, tons of people around him. Suddenly, a blue aura pops up in front of him. That seer is there too, saying they meet again. Checking things out, she says the boy's got loads of questions. Switching topics, Taru's curious about her prophecy, asking where he should head next. Scene change. Taru's in front of a soldier. The dude spots him. Our hero flashes a smile. The soldier's like, if the guild's got your back, you're good. Welcome to Dance's village. This place is wary of newbies, so no funny business. And Taru's cool with it. Just thanks him. The gatekeeper's May vibe and the villagers' icy stares were enough to make anyone sweat. They said the blue-roofed building was the guild. Looking around, he finally spots it. At that moment, the receptionist notices someone coming in. Showing his card, Taru says he wants to base his activities here. The girl asks him to hang tight while she checks stuff. Handing back his card, she says he's rank G and should peep the notice board for missions. Seeing this, Taru thinks it's the lamest welcome he's had at an adventurer's guild, asking where the inn is. She says there's just one nameless inn 2 houses down. Arriving there, Taru checks out the place. A woman shows up saying this ain't a playground for kids, but the boy's like, just need a room. The woman asks if he's got the cash, and he says he'll pay up front for 10 nights. Seeing the coins, the woman's shocked by the dough, saying his room's the second from the back. Entering, the boy thinks at least he's got a spot now, and notices the doorknob fell off when he opened the door. So he'll have to fix it later. Still, it's cool, this'll be his base for a bit. First things first, he'll take on some missions. He's rank G, so can't be too choosy. Once that's done, he'll explore the village. With his carpentry skills, reverse game skills, and precision abilities, fixing stuff should be a breeze. So, the boy kicks off his mission, fixing that roof. A few minutes later, he's done, and the receptionist is all, wait, you're finished already? As he heads down the stairs, she keeps an eye on him, asking if he's got carpentry skills because she didn't expect such a pro job, and Taru's like, so, mission complete? She nods, saying she'll handle the paperwork. Scene switch to inside the guild, and the girl mentions he's nailed several missions before. So, he qualifies for a promotion, and now he's rank F. Taru grabs his card and thanks her. Scene switch to him entering his room. But then, a beast pops up behind him. Our hero spots the dude. The beast asks if he's a newbie. His name's Bob, an adventurer, and he asks if the boy is one too. Taru greets him, saying he's kinda one. And Bob's like, cool, can't wait to team up. His room's back there, and he's rank E. Hearing this, Taru says he just got bumped up to rank F. Bob, realizing Taru's new, says if he needs help, he should hit him up for advice. Then he remembers something. Chloe, the receptionist, mentioned Taru did the guild repair mission, saved him a ton of work. Taru nods, thinking he's finally found a nice guy, and tomorrow, he'll tackle rank F missions and give it his all. Scene shift to another day, feels like deja vu as Taru's gathering herbs again. The oil of truth skills were for checking stuff out. Mixing it with plant knowledge and danger detection, he made a cool technique, all to snag herbs while spotting danger. Then, our hero sees someone being chased by 4 goblins. No time to waste, he jumps in to help. And surprise, it's Bob being chased. So, the boy jumps in to help him, using his bow and arrow to take down a goblin, finishing the rest with his sword. With Bob on the ground, Taru asks if he's okay, but then he sees the beasts poisoned, looks out cold. Next to him, there's a dagger with some poison. Seeing the situation, Taru knows he has to hurry, saying he'll treat him right away. He pulls out an ointment from his backpack, also gives him some medicine. Still, the potion alone isn't super comforting. He hadn't tried it before, but mixing the antidote potion should boost his survival odds. The boy starts using his skill on the beast. Looks like it's working, easing his pain. His breathing steadies, and the boy collapses, exhausted, thinking it should be enough for now. Even so, better to head back to the village, asking him to hang on a bit longer. Scene changed to another spot, and the doc says the quick treatment saved his life, and he's probably good now. Taru says the poison hit him hard, asking to let him chill there for a bit, but the doc's like, "I've done my part, now take him away." Taru thinks the guy's pretty cold. Everyone there seems to lack feelings. The Guardian warned that this village is wary of strangers, but this is just nuts. Scene change to the boy taking the beast to his room. Then, he wakes up asking where he is. To sum up, he remembers getting hit by goblin poison. But Taru says this is the village inn, and he found him out cold. But chill, he treated his wounds and got rid of the poison, so he should be good now. Asking if he was on a mission before, and Bob says he was doing monster cleanup at the roadside sanctuary. That place is dedicated to the village's deity and has gotten sketchy lately for various reasons. To sum up, more monsters showed up, and Taru asks if that's why the cleanup was a mission, and the guy says yes, but something weird was up. He's from a canine tribe, so he trusts his instincts. And with that, he warns him that the sanctuary smelled fishy. Even though it was faint, the same smell was coming from the village, and there's no doubt about it. Hearing this, Taru's all, "Yo, this place is super weird," thinking there might be something up with that sanctuary. Bob's like, "Back in the day, a local told me the village folks were super chill, but now it's a total 180. Bob gets what the kid's saying. Still, he owes the villagers big time, so he's down to take some risks and crack the sanctuary mystery. Our boy's just soaking it all in, staying quiet, saying he can't take cleaning missions because of his rank, but he still wants to help out. He's doing it because he wants to, and he's gonna hit the forest to back him up." Bob's grinning. "All right, let's do this." And just like that, they're ready to roll. Bob's all, "This time, no screw-ups." And boom, they're in the forest. Our boy shuts his eyes, focusing hard. Using his presence detection skill, he spots a monster nearby. Just a goblin, no biggie. Thinking he should let it slide. The monster vanishes and he's like, "Phew, dodged a bullet." Cause he's gotta find that sanctuary pronto. Bob's presence is nearby too, but there are other vibes around. Suddenly the boy's like, "Whoa, there's a ton of goblins nearby. And a sorcerer too." Taru's like, "First time seeing one of these bad boys." The goblin's knife that hit Bob was poisoned. Probably the sorcerer's doing. Goblin sorcerers are rare, smart, and can do magic, so they're no joke. Looking at them, Taru's thinking this must be the sanctuary Bob mentioned, and the goblins are heading in. That sanctuary's looking sketchy, wondering what to do. Maybe wait for the goblins to bounce, but Bob might be coming too. Suddenly there's rustling in the bushes. Taru's thinking he might be too late. Then Bob shows up. The sorcerers spotted him. Annoyed, the beast's like, "These monsters are trashing the sanctuary." In seconds, a horde of monsters charges at him. He's fighting them off like a boss. Meanwhile, the sorcerer's cooking up a spell from afar, summoning a fireball. Taru's like, "Watch out," but it's already too late. In a flash, Taru whips out his bow and arrow, aiming at the sorcerer, but a sword blocks the goblin. There's also a goblin decked out in full armor. Meanwhile, Bob's soloing the goblins. Taru's like, "Let's regroup for now," using magic to chuck some stones, smacking goblins to help Bob out. He gets closer to the protagonist. They manage to regroup. Later, they're on the run, and Taru's like, "We got pretty far, huh?" Bob's like, "You good, kid?" And he says he's fine. The beast's like, "You saved me again, Taru." Old habits die hard, and he doesn't know when to quit until it's too late. And Taru's like, "Glad we made it out in one piece." Switching gears, the beast's like, "Let's report this to the guild." Scene shift to the guild hall. Chloe's shocked about the sorcerer and armored goblin reports. Bob's like, "We need backup, ASAP. But Chloe's like, "Last time we did that, everyone bailed except you." Bob's asking about the guild master and if he could help in a fight. But Chloe's like, "He got fed up with the villagers and quit 3 months ago, so I'm running this solo." Hearing this, Taru's thinking it's worse than he thought. If the deserters trash talk the village, no adventurer will want to come. As Bob said, they can't save the village without tackling the root of the problem. Looks like it's just them against the goblins. Then Chloe's like, "As the guild's rep, I'm giving you a mission to wipe out the goblins. No time limit." Taru's like, "Challenge accepted." Then Chloe's like, "The rest is up to you guys." Taru's like, "Let's gear up. It's all on us." And Bob's like, "Taking down a goblin squad with a sorcerer and knight duo with just us? That's nuts." But Taru's like, "We don't have to do it all at once, or right away." From that day on, Bob and Taru kicked off the ultimate goblin cleanup around the sanctuary. Goblins roll in squads, so they play it smart, taking them down one by one. As soon as he draws his arrow, it nails a goblin, and slowly but surely, the dynamic duo seriously cuts down the goblin numbers. They wiped out all the basic goblins. Now the goblin sorcerer and the knight gotta go food hunting. And it's just a matter of time. Our hero keeps an eye on the sanctuary. totally still, thinking the enemy's tougher than them, and when things get dicey, Bob's strength will be clutch. Just then, that armored knight steps out. Bob asks if it's go time, but Teru says not yet. Meanwhile, the goblin seems distracted, but soon after, it looks the other way. Seizing the moment, the two start their attack. The arrow hits the goblin's head but does zilch. It just makes the creature super annoyed. Bob tries to hit the monster too, but it blocks with its shield. Teru's not giving up, so he whips out his dark magic, apparently stunning the creature. Finally, Bob's attacks start to work. Teru jumps in with his sword, landing more damage on the creature. Our boy activates his presence detection skill to find the sorcerer, saying he's nearby too. But just then, that knight spots an opening and hits Bob, who takes the hit head on. Our hero checks out the scene, keeps attacking the armored monster, but just then, he actually takes a hit, getting pretty banged up. He drops to the ground, dazed. The goblin starts laughing, thinking it's game over. Our hero's definitely bruised. Still, he doesn't quit and grips his sword. Just then, a blue aura wraps around him. In a last-ditch move, he lands a hit on the monster, apparently taking it down. The boy in the chaos realizes he's really hurting, but there's no time to chill cause the goblin sorcerer's already behind him. In the middle of it all, Teru uses his super regen ability and heals up completely. The sorcerer's shocked by what he sees, but then he fires up his flame ability while Teru uses his dark magic. Handing a potion to Bob, he tells him to heal up fast. Using his dark magic, he blocks the fireballs. But then, a massive fireball comes his way. Bob's still out cold. Our hero barely dodges the attack. That goblin manages to speak and says this time he won't miss. But just then, Bobby wakes up, saying he's not going anywhere, taking down the armored goblin. With that, the battle wraps up. Our hero, exhausted, just grins, thanking for the save, but Bobby says he already saved him before. Then, the protagonist asks if he can go ahead and report the mission's end. Bobby says sure, but wonders what the boy will do, who says he's curious about what's inside the sanctuary, so he starts heading in. He uses a magic circle, saying it seems empty inside, but still, the dark spirits are gathering. Looking ahead, he spots a totem set up by the goblins. Anyway, it's gross and stinks, so they gotta clean it up. But just then, a tremor hits after he uses his purification ability. That thing vanishes, and Teru asks if it was cursed. Plus, he had to purify that other thing too. The boy approaches the stone using his ability. A blue circle wraps around the whole thing. It starts floating in the air. Crazy writings pop up on the stone and the system says he got the dark spirit magic. The boy's shocked by what he got. Just then, a black hand appears. It starts talking, saying it's the dark spirit Pluto and Teru saved it. A curse was on the sacred stone where it lives and messed up the village too, and it's thankful for breaking the curse. This isn't much, but it'll give him the dark spirit's blessing. It boosts dark magic power and his resistance to it. And since he's got status resistance, he won't be hit by dark magic abilities. So, this is the most it can do with its current power. After that, Teru thanks for the help, and the monster says it's happy to help. Now it has to go cause it hasn't seen the outside world in ages. The creature leaves and Teru thinks it might be noon already, cause it's so bright. Right then a shadowy vibe wraps around him, all mysterious and stuff. The kid's all, whoa, I might have just scored something epic. If the spooky spirit's on point, the village curse should be toast now. And boom, we're back at the guild. Bob's like, hold up, something's up. Teru finally rolls back in. He's all, dude, you took forever. I was about to go all search party on you. They want to give him props cause they squashed the goblins thanks to him. But Teru's like, nah, I was the one who got saved. Bob's like, well, at least that funky smell's gone. Did you do something? Teru's all, not sure, but looks like the village curse is history. Bob's all, for real? And Teru's like, that's what the spirit said. Chloe and Bob are all, wait, what? But then Chloe's calling the main dude over. She's like, the guild's got a reward for you, thanks a million. But Teru's like, nah, give it to Bob. He figured it out first. Bob's like, when the Goblin Knight KO'd me, I thought it was game over. And if Teru hadn't stepped up, he'd be monster chow. Bob's like, I'll pay you back for the potion too. But Teru's like, no biggie, it was homemade. Leaving them both like, say what? Chloe's like, Teru, you must be a potion wizard. He's good at loads of stuff, even potion making. And Bob's like, dude, you're awesome. But Teru's like, nah, it's just this weird skill. Leaving them both scratching their heads. Chloe's like, sorry for hyping you up. You must have worked hard. Teru's thinking, in this world, his skill's called useless, and it's got a bunch of lame names. No wonder they're confused. Then Chloe's like, the village is back to normal. Bob's like, the vibe's way better than when I got here. We totally saved the day. Long story short, mission accomplished. Teru's thinking he'll keep using this power, all to help peeps across the kingdom. 'Cause that's why he's here. He came to this world on his own, so he's all in to help others.